Hey, how you doing? Hope you all are doing great. As you've seen in the thumbnail, in this video, we're going to see what if Naruto got in a harem with Zelda. This is part 5, and before getting into video, I request you to check the author of this fanfic and show some love and support. Name of the story is The Legend of Zelda, Twilight Princess Tremor 230 style by Tremor 230. Do check it. All details and description. And if you want next part of this series, please leave a like, share, and consider subscribe. Let's get into the video. Also check out Patreon for uncensored spicy content. Link in description. Shores of Lake Hylia. Do you get it now? There is no way that I will think badly about you using the power of the fused shadows if you consider that I too can summon a very destructive power that no one should use. Naruto said as he kept caressing Midna's head resting on his lap. The imp girl muttered while snuggling a little closer to his chest. She technically aimed at only having her head staying on his legs. But with the difference in dimensions, everything resulted in her curling into a tiny ball while lying completely on his lap in a very cat-like manner with her face facing him and her cheek pressed on his crotch. Casually pressing on his crotch, of course. Or at least that was how she will justify it. Feeling comfortable? Utsukushi asked with a vitriol-laced tone. Hush! Don't ruin the moment with your petty jealousy, furball. Midna answered without opening her eyes. I assure you that I am not jealous of you, especially since I have nothing to fear from an ugly little thing like you. The ten-tailed vixen replied, huffing. Girls, please play nice. The blonde shinobi said, chuckling as he kept passing a hand through Midna's hair and silently marveling at how soft and nice they felt even if covered by his own shadow. She started it. Utsukushi said, indignant. No, she was the one to start. Midna muttered in answer while trying to not fall asleep. Come on now. We have a Zora prince to find and take back home. Naruto said, gently prodding the small imp on his legs awake. 5 more minutes. Midna answered with a more whining-like tone than what she had planned. Oh, you were just adorable. He answered, kissing her forehead, making her go full green in her blushing. Hem. The vixen in the seal growled, clearing her throat. And a kiss to the grumpy big girl, too. Naruto answered nonplussed while entering the seal, just for an instant to kiss the biju on her massive fox nose. That's better. She answered with a pleased nod. Fine. Let's move on with this side quest of yours. Midna said, annoyed, as she got up to return inside the shinobi shadow, but not before stealing a little kiss on the lips from the young man as she disappeared. Don't you dare do that again, you little kiss-thieving whore. Utsukushi roared in anger. Blia! Midna, very maturely, answered by just sticking out her tongue and slightly pulling down an eyelid. Sigh. This doesn't make things any easier. Naruto muttered in dismay as he got up and started walking away from the water. At least others seemed to rejoice in the return of the lake to its former glory now that water had returned flowing into it. Even the grumpy-looking man dressed as a clown was showing a tiny smile as a few people were nearing his booth with shy steps. The Zora seems to be patrolling down there. Utsukushi said, curious. Most of the protection of areas like this usually come from the Zora tribe. If they have a settlement somewhere, then the whole area around it is protected as well, both to defend their territory and pay for their staying so other people don't bother them. Midna explained. Oh! Naruto muttered in surprise while watching as a daring couple entered the strange, floating house that then started trembling terribly, spin and groan until a huge cannon came out from its roof to shot the two up in the sky towards a small construction on the side of the near wall of rock. Where do you think they have built the temple? The Zora Queen said, at the bottom of the lake. But the place is still kind of big. He asked as he kept following the couple as they descended towards the house, by using a kuko each of all things to slow down their fall. I think we'll need to look for the deepest zone, far enough to not be seen from the surface. The imp girl answered, uncertain. Then we'll need that power that woman promised us if we want to reach the place. The last piece of fused shadows is in that underwater temple, right? The ten-tailed vixen asked. Precisely. Then let's move. If we are lucky, that Zora kid we saw in Hyrule Castletown was the very same boy we need to find. Naruto said before sprinting away, as always demonstrating that technically for a former shinobi of the elemental nation's horses were not fundamental for fast traveling, especially for a ninja as OP as him. The blonde sprinted at top speed towards the castle, kicking up a humongous cloud of dust behind him as he pumped industrial quantities of chakra in his legs to get that little extra sprint in his steps. Show off. The postman grumbled in envy after picking himself up, having been almost blown away from the air movement Naruto created in his mad running. Tree, bushes, wall, rock, luminescent past hero spirit something wolf, bokoblin, tree, Shininbu. Utsukushi counted as any form of obstacle the former shinobi was meeting on his path, went simply steamrolled as he refused to stop, turn or slow down for anything as bokoblins and the like went launch high in the air like ragdolls by the human hurricane. Are we in a hurry? I wasn't aware, Mina said laughing. Ooh, a ladybug. Goo. Naruto said, chuckling as he pocketed the small thing before slowing down to a stop once at few meters from the town's entrance. What's the problem, boy? Your house is burning? A near guard asked, snorting. Just looking for a guy, and I didn't want him to go anywhere else before I arrived, so I just hurried up a little. The blonde answered, shrugging as he entered. The town seemed even more active and alive with the veil of Twilight being removed. Without its oppressing presence clouding everything, the smile on the oblivious people seemed even more joyous than what Naruto remembered. It feels like nothing is wrong. If you look at them, you wouldn't think they are risking everything because a madman is planning to take over the world. Naruto muttered with a sad smile, waving back at the playing kids passing near him, or chuckling at the young girls eyeing his mask-covered face in cute confusion. It's the upside of their inability to sense the twilight. For them, there is no difference between now and when they were trapped. Unless a monster appears, they won't feel the slightest change in the air. Midna said, as she secretly glared at those very same girls from inside his shadow. Miss Ladybug says that she is suffocating in your pocket. A young voice said with a dreamy giggle. Naruto answered confused. Hi. The ladybug in your pocket, she can't breathe. She told me that herself. A young woman with long blonde hair tied in 2 ponytails answered as she moved closer and, shamelessly, tucked in hand in the pocket of the shinobi's cloak to take out the shining bug to let it fly near her head. It told you? She told me. I am Princess Ajitha, Princess of the Bug's Kingdom. The girl said with a curtsy. Someone here has some gears loose. Midna muttered uneasy. No. Utsukushi answered with narrowed eyes. I have just a gut feeling here. But I swear I can sense something very similar to natural chakra coming off from her. You sure? Naruto thought in surprise. Not completely, but it's the same feeling I get from those bugs. Best guess is that the two things are related. You were so silent. Did a cicada stole your voice? They tend to overdo with their pranks. Ajitha asked, concerned while caressing the blonde man's face. Has anyone ever taught her the meaning of personal space? Midna hissed with narrowed eyes. No. I'm fine, just lost in thought. I am Naruto, warrior of Orden. The former shinobi answered with a reassuring smile and a theatrical bow. Nice to meet you, Mr. Warrior. Can I offer you some tea? In thanks for helping all those poor bugs and joining me. Ajitha said with a small giggling fit. I'm on a mission, though. I'm looking for a Zora kid that was took here because of an illness. He answered. Ooh. I saw that kid. Miss Telma was taking care of him. I can accompany you if you want. The girl proposed. You would? I don't want to impose. He tried answering. Nonsense. It's my duty as a princess to reward you for your helping my little friends. Having a ball party without guests would have been so boring. But thanks to you, the ones missing should arrive shortly. Ajitha answered as she latched to his arm with both of hers to drag him through the town. Does she lack any regard for manners? Utsukushi said, growling. Really, there is no need, Ajitha. Naruto said, uncertain. There is. Even if you are a friend with toads and I with bugs, it doesn't mean that we should be enemies. She answered, leaning her head on his shoulder. What? The shinobi said, shocked. Oh, you smell like the woods and the wild. And my friends told me about your big friends. Are you the king of toads? She asked, curious. More like a toad sage. Naruto muttered uneasy. Then I'll call you so, Mr. Sage Naruto. Ajitha answered happily and humming to herself as the duo walked through the crowded streets. Just Naruto will be okay. A bug sage, maybe? Someone oblivious of being one? He thought, uncertain. Unlikely. You can't be a sage without knowing it. My best guess is that she can do something similar to the Aburame clan and communicate with her bugs. Utsukushi answered. Then how do those things know about his being a sage? Midna asked with crossed arms. That too, it's only a conjecture, but those are not normal insects. They posses that strange energy I said felt similar to natural chakra. Maybe those can tell the link between Naruto and the Toad Summoning Clan. The huge vixen answered, "You actually went bug hunting for me?" Ajitha asked, "Not exactly, I just happened to spot a couple here and there, or stumble on some like with that ladybug. The others just flew towards me, and then away somewhere. I guess I just remembered them of your invitation?" Naruto answered with a gentle smile. "That must be it. They keep thanking you. And I even doubted you. Oh, dear, you must be considering me a poor-mannered princess now," she said, sighing. No, no. I'm more than happy to hear how they reached you," he answered, chuckling. "Do not play along. We don't need to get dragged who knows where to hunt down bugs." Utsukushi hissed while looking at the girl with worried eyes. "We can't push her away either. Who knows how she may react?" Midna said, uncertain. "She seems non-threatening, girls. She just likes her bugs. Give her a break." The former shinobi answered, sighing mentally. "Oh, I know how to repay you," she said before kissing his cheek with a wide smile. Kill that whore. Kill that whore." Utsukushi and Midna roared as one in blind fury. "There! And Hiro always gets a kiss and thanks from the princess, right? It's customary," Ajitha said with a satisfied expression. "Why, I think so." Naruto muttered, unsure. "There we are. That's Telma's pub. It's a bit hidden, but it's also a nice place," the girl said as soon as the duo reached an isolated backstreet where the solitary pub was located. "Thank you, Ajitha," Naruto said, grateful. "If you meet one of my bug friends, tell them I am waiting for their arrival. You are invited to my ball as well, as a way to thank you." Ajitha answered, giving a last bone-breaking hug to the blonde man before walking away. "Let's hope the Zora kid is still in there," the former shinobi muttered, sighing before walking inside. "Yes, I know he is a good prince, but that grumpy fox and mean imp inside his tummy seem to be against the idea," Ajitha muttered as she walked back to her castle. "Be easy," the ladybug buzzed in answer. "You are right. You others said that we were destined to be together, so it must be like that. Those two will only need to step aside. Right?" the girl said in determination. "Excuse me. Have you seen a young man, blonde, as tall as me, and wearing a red jacket with black flames on it?" Jiraiya asked as he walked near her. "Ah, you went that way maybe?" Ajitha said, pointing in the opposite direction of the pub. "Thank you, Missy," the spy master said with a low bow before hurrying away. "Be easy," the ladybug buzzed with a tiny grimace. "Yes, I know. I could tell he was a super pervert just by looking at him myself," the girl answered with a cute frown on her face before continuing in her walk, humming to herself. Meanwhile, Telma's pub. "That is a Zora child. This is beyond my expertise." "Oomph." An old man with round glasses big enough to cover most of his face harumphed before marching out of the pub, shoving Naruto aside with a sneer. "Did something crawl up his ass and died?" Naruto asked, shaking his head. "Goddesses know if that is not the case." "Well, that aside, this isn't good." A robust woman with red hair, tied tightly behind her head, said, huffing. "A human doctor won't do." "Huh?" Naruto asked as he neared the makeshift bed, holding the shivering Zora kid. "You must be new in town. I never saw you before," the woman said. "Naruto's the name? Are you Telma?" He answered. "In the flesh." "What happened to your ears? They seem pretty small," she asked, curious. "Birth malformation, but I don't want to talk about it." "How's the kid?" "Not well, unfortunately. But even if useless as a doctor, that old coot reminded me about the shaman living in Kakariko village I heard talking about." "You mean the village in the Elden Lands?" Naruto asked. "Exactly him. They say he has tended Goron's and Zora's before," she answered. "Rinadu? That's a surprise, but I should have known." "So you know him? That's a relief. If we bring the kid there, we can," Telma started saying before one of the soldiers present cleared his throat rather loudly to attract attention. "I thought they were mannequins since they weren't moving," Utsukushi said, snorting. "They would have been the ugliest mannequins ever, though." Midna added, "Inadvisable. Too dangerous," the soldier at the head of the group said before straightening his shoulders to puff out his chest. "But we can't turn a blind eye to a pretty woman in need either," he also added, gaining several grunts of approval from his other four companions. "Yes, we'd better escort you. Am I right, boys?" he then said, thrusting his spear up in the sky. "Hoi!" the other soldiers answered with a joyous scream. "Well, isn't that nice? To reach Kakariko, we got to cross two plains that are each infested by dangerous beasts," Telma said, watching the Zora kid and silencing the soldiers immediately. 3. Naruto muttered, sighing, fighting our way through the hordes of enemies. 2. Utsukushi continued facepalming and challenged the long road from here and the village. Telma finished saying, 1. Midna added, groaning, but if you soldiers accompany us, we'll be safe, right? The owner of the pub said as she turned to look at the soldiers to find only the shorter one remaining and the entrance still opened with the echoing steps of the fleeing soldiers faintly filtering inside. Wait. The last soldier added as he finally noticed the escape of his companions and rapidly joining them outside. Tadea, what a surprise, Naruto said in sarcasm while shaking his head. Cowards, don't ever show your faces here again. Telma howled in anger as soon as the door was slammed closed. As soon as silence filled the room, Telma's eyes fell on the last remaining occupant of the room, Naruto, making her face broke into a wide grin. Run! It's an escort mission. Midna yelled in horror, making the blonde immediately turn on himself to try and bolt out. Oh my! The pub owner said as she immediately grabbed both his shoulders in a surprisingly strong grip, stopping his escape. No! Utsukushi howled, crying as she felt Naruto get dragged towards the Zora kid. Looks like I've got one young, strapping man left. Telma purred with a vicious smile. Listen, lady, I was just passing by. Naruto tried saying with tears already forming in his eyes and a whimper in his tone. And not only that, but it looks like this brave young man will escort me, and you, kid, aren't you happy? You won't die, because he will hold your life in his own hands, the woman said to the trembling kid while turning the blonde towards the small bed. That's low. Emotional blackmailing is against the rules, Midna said, whining as she failed to look away from the sick Zora. You know this kid, don't you? I saw how you looked at him when you entered, Telma asked as she stopped holding the shinobi. Sigh. Yeah, I was looking for him. I need to take him back home, Naruto answered, sighing. This little thing. I found this poor boy collapsed in the road, so I did all I could to save him. Whatever brought him here, to come all the way to Castle Town by himself shows that he has more courage than all the soldiers of Hyrule, for sure, she answered, passing a cloth on the Zora's forehead. Lend your strength to him. You hear me? Not to me, not to the soldiers, but to this boy. Will you? Telma asked. Go get ready. And I at least hope this escort mission won't be bad, the blonde answered with a defeated tone. Oh, don't be like that. I am not a dumb escorted. Had you been escorting Larian the idiot, that would have been worse, she answered. Larian the idiot? Naruto asked, taken aback. After getting stuck on a 2 inches tall rock and walking against every wall he saw, he randomly decided that he wanted to hug an heavily armed Bulblin. We buried his rests in a matchsticks box, Telma answered. Ouch, Naruto said, wincing. 1 hour later, outside Hyrule Castle Town. I am ready, dear, Telma said as she drove a carriage near Naruto and Epona. I can't run there by myself without leaving you behind, so I will use Epona. You mean that you are usually faster than a horse? The woman asked, amused, gaining an annoyed huff from Epona. Pretty much, and she hates when people remind her of that. But I still love her all the same, he answered, patting the mare's sides before hopping on her back. Very well. You said the bridge to the west has been destroyed. Then it means that our only option is to cross the bridge to the east, she said, watching in apprehension the large number of Bulblin patrolling the bridge. If you want, I can take the boy to Kakariko myself. Like that you won't have to risk your life during the trip, Naruto offered. No, I also need to speak with Rinnedu, so I am coming too, Telma answered. Then I'll have to deal with those bastards. What a pain. But the life of that kid is at stake. We both need to be strong and face our fear. More than fear, mine is annoyance. Naruto answered before launching Epona in a fast galloping forward. Sigh. What a great pair of eyes you have, honey. They're proud and wild, like a feral beast. And I'll need a beast right now to keep the true ones at bay. If only I was just a tad younger. Hi. Telma muttered to herself before giggling, not noticing how hard the blonde shivered in answer at her staring at him. Ready to roll? Come on, girls. Take this old woman to Kakariko Village, the pub owner said as soon as she saw Naruto's signal to move from the pile of massacred Bulblins, making the horses dragging the carriage give a long cry as they started pulling. As both carriage and Epona When ahead, more Bulblins charged them by the dozen, making Naruto groan in annoyance. I swear, this is just too much. I'm starting to wonder what the bad guys are doing while I am wasting time in time-consuming side quests instead of stopping them. I'm sure they're already planning ahead right now, he said with a low growl. Meanwhile, throne room in Hyrule Castle. I am a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Life in plastic, it's fantastic. You can brush my hair, undress me every way here. Imagination. Life is your creation. Zant sang as he danced in only his boxers in the throne room of Zelda's castle. Zant, I need you too, Ganondorf started saying before falling silent at the sad spectacle of the adult man jumping and shaking his hips around on the notes of a song coming out from a near Goron crystal. Never mind, the tall, evil man muttered as he slowly closed the door unnoticed to leave the still dancing mad idiot to his thing. Back with Naruto. Now I am going to use you. But, Naruto said to the weapon in his hand, but I won't harass you, master. The spirit inside the boomerang answered meekly. Good fairy. Now, go. The blonde answered as he charged the boomerang in wind chakra, making it shine in energy before throwing it. It feels so good. The weapon cried out in pleasure as it collided with the last group of Bulblin archers, launching them high in the sky, howling in agony as the wind broke their bones down to powder. Sigh. First and last time, the shinobi said, dropping his head in defeat and grabbing the returning weapon with an absent-minded movement. Oh. Again, please. Please, a tiny bit more energy. It felt so good. Use me. Use me like one of your French girls. Pump it inside me like I'm your BITC. The weapon moaned out pleadingly. Bye. He answered, sealing it back into a scroll as fast as he could. Interesting weapon you have there, Telma said, chuckling. Mind your own damn business. We are almost there. The blonde answered, huffing and prompting Epona to trot faster. Later that night, Kakariko Village. It had been a long, troubled job to make sure the Zora kid could at least get a little bit better as his fever had worsened during the small trip in the carriage. But Rinnedu had showed how much he indeed knew about healing the boy's kind, as he had immediately started working as soon as he saw what was the problem. Very well. He has passed through the worst of it. As long as he rests, he should recover in due time, Rinnedu said as he joined Naruto, Telma, and Colin outside his home. That's good to hear, the blonde shinobi said, relieved. Do you know the fate of his mother? Her welfare consumes him. He has been mumbling deliriously about her almost constantly. She is no longer here, Rinnedu. Not anymore. I see. It must have been awful. From what the other Zora told me, it wasn't nice. The man answered, sighing. I'll stay with him until he's better, no matter how long it takes, Colin said immediately. Well said, Naruto answered, patting his head and watching him run inside, while Rinnedu walked away, leaving the shinobi and pub owner alone. Nice to see there's still hope here, and it's always good to see happy results repay your efforts. Listen, Telma said with a faraway look in her eyes. Yes? Naruto answered. Those skills of yours. Any chance you're of the mind to put them to use for Hyrule? The woman asked. I'm already doing it, Telma. I'm already doing my best to help you all, Naruto answered, grinning. Good to hear. What hope there is in our kingdom is frail and dying. But there's still a group trying to do what it can, and I'm a member of that group, she said, presenting her hand with a wide smile on her face. So, we finally meet a member of the rebels? Utsukushi asked. That would mean that they know what's going on, but maybe they understood that there is something wrong with Hyrule and decided to see what they could do about it. Midna answered, shrugging. What are you going to do now, Telma? Naruto asked. Now, I may just stay here a bit longer. I am still worries about the Zora boy and, well, never mind about the rest, she answered while stealing a glance at Rinnedu. Oh, someone has a crush? The blonde shinobi said, chuckling. Girl's secret. But Naruto, I want to see you again at my bar. You hear me? Telma ordered, jabbing a finger in his chest. I am not one that drinks usually. The bar is actually a kind of safe house for my friends. Honey, there's a passageway that leads to the castle from in there as well. If you ever need something, stop by. I'll be waiting for you, she answered, punching Naruto's shoulder before giving an exaggerated wince and waving around her abused hand. Just go to Rinnedu, you silly woman, the shinobi answered, chuckling. Blee. The other answered, sticking out her tongue before running away to join Rinnedu. You did well, a new voice said with a grateful tone. Your Highness. Naruto answered, bowing to the spirit of the defunct Zora Queen, as promised, for helping my son in his time of need and bringing him here to be cured at the risk of your own life. Follow me, the ghost said as she slowly floated away. I am coming. The young man answered, rapidly following her. Where are we going? The graveyard. Naruto answered, remembering the path. And exactly as the former shinobi said, the spirit of the dead queen slowly brought the substitute hero chosen by the goddesses in the old graveyard of Kakariko village until her body phased through the more old-looking tombstone in there, making the three circular symbols on it shine brightly until the whole thing simply faded away, showing a small hole in the wall, a secret passage. Where will it take us? Midna asked. Just one way to discover it. He answered, crawling in the small space. On the other side, Naruto could see a small clearing filled with water, refilled by a miniature waterfall, and on the opposite side, a lonely tombstone where the ghost of the Zora Queen stood in front of and wait. Covering the short distance in a short jog of water, walking, the shinobi reached the dead queen in front of the tall stone construction and simply stood in wait. I am deeply grateful to you for aiding my son in his time of need. Kakariko Village is a sacred place for the Zora people. It is where we take our eternal rest. The spirit said with a small bow of her head. It was the right thing to do, Your Highness. I just helped a worried mother to find peace. Naruto answered, bowing himself. Thank you. My husband in life, King Zora, also rests his spirit here, so it is no coincidence my son found his salvation in this place. That which I have promised you is within this grave. In the grave, during his lifetime, my husband created garments specifically for the chosen hero, garments that house the abilities of the Zora. Here, she answered, as with a gesture of her hand, the tombstone moved back, showing a hidden compartment where a set of carefully folded clothes could be seen. Thank you, Your Highness. That will help me save Hyrule. Naruto answered, grateful, as he gently took out the Zora armor from its resting place. Now, at last, I can join the king in slumber. And yet, my son, he still knows nothing of my death. If you see him again, please pass on this message. Tell him he must not grieve his mother's passing. Tell him she wanted him to be brave and live on as the king of our people. And tell him his mother loves him without end. Tell him, the queen said as she gradually started fading away until she disappeared before she could finish her message. You okay? Midna asked, concerned, as she came out of Naruto's shadow. Yes, I am. It's just touching seeing a mother defy death to be sure her son is safe. He answered, taking away a tear from his eye and gratefully accepting the hug of Midna and the mental one from Utsukushi. It's all okay. It's a good thing you saw your friends being still safe and even picked up that nifty Zora armor as an extra. The imp girl said with a small smile. Yup, even if a tunic is not exactly my style, but I guess it can't be helped. He answered, chuckling as he unfolded the blue tunic to better look at it. Eee! A mischievous giggling was then heard as an human-looking silhouette of red energy appeared from behind the blonde. Who are you? He asked, getting on the defensive. I'll take care of that. The spirit said, giggling again and phasing through the shinobi's body, taking away his red cloak and the blue tunic. Hey, that's mine, he yelled. Hi. I'll put the two together. As soon you'll enter water, it will turn blue and have the same effect of the old Zora armor. As a present, the female spirit answered as she moved the cloak and the armor close until the Zora garment entered inside the cloak. Here, she answered as the thing reappeared in Naruto's hand and sporting a new hood as an extra. Thank you. But who are you? He asked, surprised. Me? Call me Din. I'll see you again, hero of power. Bye. The red light answered with a last giggle before fading away. Okay, that was strange. But aren't you forgetting something kind of important? Midna asked. The last fused shadow. Damn it, I got sidetracked. Naruto yelled, slapping himself before wearing back his cloak and donning the hood. It's okay. Remember what Farron the Light Spirit said. He said we would need the fused shadows to defeat the Dark Overlord Zant and save the world. So let's go get it. The imp girl said, re-entering the blonde shadow. Now we need to go to the temple on the lake bed of Lake Hylia, and we finally have the right gadget to do it. I am ready. Naruto answered, hurrying out of the hidden tomb. Let's rest a little before that. A couple hours of sleep will do you good. Utsukushi proposed from the seal. I don't need that. The blonde answered before his stomach grumbled loudly. Okay, maybe something to eat would be good too. He admitted, blushing and trying to ignore the smirk on both girls' face. Up in the heavens, you really had to do that? Din? Farrer asked, sighing, as he said he is not one for tunics and with a body like his. Hiding it under a pajama would have been a crime. Din answered with a wide grin. That is not a pajama, if you say so, sister. The goddess of power answered, uncaring and relishing in the scream of utter rage she managed to get from the goddess of courage. Back on Hyrule, Lake Hylia's shores. So, here we are, Naruto said, looking at the part of the massive lake where the water was darker. Let's see if we can really breathe underwater like a Zora with this thing on. Midna said, uncertain and with narrowed eyes. Taking a running start, the ex-shinobi leaped on the water to run above it towards the area the submerged temple was supposedly hidden, while ignoring the bulged-out eyes of the people around him and the open-mouthed gasp of the few Zora guards swimming close. And drop, we have arrived, Utsukushi said sharply. Roger, the young man answered, jumping high and diving in the water to swim down. The instant his hood-covered head went under, the whole cloak shifted into a deep blue color with white flames, while the material itself turned into fish-like scales. Even his sandals grew in length to mimic the webbed feet of the Zora. Damn, this is so cool, a starry-eyed Naruto said as he felt a mask similar to Kakashi's form over his mouth to somehow help the blonde breath underwater. Okay, this is working after all. That down there is the entrance to the lakebed temple, but it seems like some rocks are blocking the path. Midna answered while pointing at the giant hole in the ground hiding the ruins of the temple and at the very few still standing columns leading to the entrance. Then I'll just break through. Naruto answered, nodding. Do you have any bombs with you? We are deep underwater, so you can't exactly punch wham, the imp girl started saying before the shinobi's punch connected with the boulders in front of him and breaking the rocks, blocking the entrance to the temple in a huge cloud of bubbles and fragments of rock. Them. Pfft. I forgot with who I was traveling with. Okay, whatever. Let's go inside. She then chuckled out at seeing her companion's smug expression. What followed was a long tunnel that had probably been dug into pure rock, ragged surface that they never thought about refinishing and just left in its natural state, and that was now covered in corals and water plants. Finally resurfacing into a waterless area, the former shinobi could see a wide room with a twin ramp or stairs and a sturdy gate on the opposite side of the room. There it is, the entrance, Naruto said, smirking as he got out of the water, making his cloak return to normal. Wanna bet it will still be filled with monsters? Utsukushi asked, shaking her head. We are deep under the lake and the entrance was sealed. How are they supposed to live in here? I don't think Hylian temples have a cafeteria annexed. He answered, confused. Be ready, we will find enemies here. Heaven forbid the thing will be too easy otherwise. The vixen answered, waving him off. Wah! Evil slugs! The blond man shrieked as blobs of dark-colored sludge pounced on him with an hissing growl. Told you! The Bijou answered while a well-placed Rasengan turned the two slug-like creatures to bits that then simply evaporated once splattered on the floor. Not even here for a minute, and we already are attacked. This place promises to be annoying, just like with every other water temple. Midna muttered. What was that? Nothing. So? How do we open that door? There is a gate covering it. Utsukushi asked. Let's try with that lever hanging from the ceiling. I'll send a clone, though, just to be safe. Naruto answered as he created a Kage Bunshin that immediately latched to the big level, making it whine from the lack of use. Ah, it's opening. Go on, boss. Seems safe. The clone said happily. Thank you. Kaya ah. Evil slugs. Evil slugs. And they taste like shit. The original shinobi answered before a new shapeless mass fell on his head, making him shriek in both surprise and disgust. Ouch. Sorry. Didn't see that one coming. The Bunshin answered sheepishly. Stupid clones. Stupid quests. Stupid temples built to be annoying. Naruto growled as he opened the door to enter in a wide room, the bottom of which flooded and several meters lower than his arriving point. Oh, that's treacherous, Midna said at seeing one of the many giant stalactites present fall from the ceiling with a dull wham. Sound and splashing of water. Treacherous? This place is simply falling apart. He answered, groaning. I can't see people come here to fix the plumbing, so just deal with it and move on. Atsukushi answered, shrugging. What? You mean you won't knock down those from the ceiling before passing? They don't look to be very stable. Enough force, and they'll come down. Midna asked distractingly. You really like my Rasengan, don't you? Naruto answered, smirking. And things that blow up. So what? She answered, coming out from his shadow to glare at him with her face pure green in embarrassment. Well, I don't really need those to pass, but having them conveniently fall on my head would suck too. So I'll use an explosive note wrapped around a kunai. No need to waste energy like that. The blonde answered, unsealing a couple of said, throwing knives together with the pieces of paper. Explosive notes? The imp girl asked, curious. Here, throw one and watch. He answered, presenting one of the wrapped weapons. Ah, like this? She answered, grabbing the thing with her hair-made hand and tossing it at one of the rocks as soon as he focused chakra on it. The resulting explosion caused the room to shock violently, making the various rocks to fall from the ceiling one after another. In the end, one was more than enough. Good shot, Midna-chan, Naruto said, grinning. Oh. The small girl muttered with starry eyes of awe. Later I'll teach you how to make some. Let's go now. He answered, hurrying away. Wait. The other answered, diving for his shadow as fast as she could. Some time later, the lakebed temple was. It was annoying with the capital, levers upon levers, moving stairs and whole sections underwater. Then there were lizard people and frog people patrolling the various corridors that loved nothing more than charging Naruto with the weapons, and her claws held high, and a face screaming of hunger. When diving, Naruto had to deal with man-eating oysters and jellyfishes with enough raw electricity in their bodies to light a city. And the deeper he went inside the temple, the strangest enemies he found, like insects riding bubbles of water or strange creatures with spiked armor charging at him, while squealing like pigs. And with that we flood another part of this place. The former shinobi said as a new metallic door opened, turning the stairs, he climbed to reach there into a long water slide. This is a water temple. Is no wonder that it needs this to work properly. Midna answered as she followed him back in the main room with the spinning stairs. But this doesn't mean they had to get ridiculous during construction. We saw bridges that got higher or lower, depending on the level of water, and giant cogwheels spinning around to move platforms. Isn't it even too much complicated? Atsukushi answered, groaning. They built it underwater. They had Tio add something to attract tourists, otherwise this place would be deserted. Naruto answered as he dodged a new wave of bats that descended on him. Oh yes. Because this was the perfect place to bring your family in the weekends before Zant team started his plan. The vixen answered, sarcastic. Guys? Midna said, uncertain. Yes? Naruto asked as soon as he climbed out of the water and finished kicking away the two small fishes that were trying to bite his toes through his sandals. Up there. The imp girl answered, pointing upward with a shiver. What are you? Oh God, that's disgusting. Atsukushi asked before shrieking in disgust. What the fuck? Above the group, clinging to one of the stalactites of the wide room, stood hanging the fattest animal either of them had ever seen, with an ugly, bloated belly, helmeted head, fat purple lips, double chin, and dozen of eyes on its back that blinked at the heroes in surprise. What a disgusting toad! Midna shrieked, gagging once the thing jumped down to growl at them. It's a frog. There is a clear difference. Naruto answered, offended. What do you mean? It's clearly a toad. She asked back. No, it isn't. He answered, sidestepping the creature as it tried to pounce on him to squash his body under its belly and kicking it far away with his own heel. Yes, it is. Midna answered as Naruto gave a kick to one of the eyes. In truth, parasitic fishes that had been hanging from the beast's back, making it ricochet from the wall and slam on the mini-boss' forehead with enough force to launch it back against the wall a second time. Prove it, Naruto said, stomping down childishly, and not even noticing that his feet had in fact stomped on the creature's tongue, making it shriek in pain and try to jump away to free it. Umph! 2 short legs and 2 stubby arms that make it impossible for that toad to jump. Midna answered, crossing her arms. What? Have you seen how fat this thing is? How can it jump if its belly touches the ground? And it has smooth and slimy skin. It means that it's a frog because it lives in humid climates, NOH. We are underwater, Naruto answered, grabbing the huge tongue of the beast to pull on it and slam the creature's back on the ground before grabbing Midna's hand to force her to rub its skin. See? Smooth and slimy. It's a damn frog, he said in triumph. It means nothing. Look at its eyes. Midna roared back as her hair hand grabbed the back of the thing's head to move it closer to the two of them, and uncaring if she forced it to slam its forehead on the ground hard enough to dig a crater. Do you see those eyes? Frogs have bulging eyes while this thing can barely open them with how fucking fat it is. And toads have round, fat bodies. She replied, guys? Utsukushi tried saying, but it jumped. It tried to jump on me, and toads don't jump. Naruto answered smugly, yes they can. You yourself told me that Gamabunta and his clanmates can jump, and they're toads, so it means this one is a toad too. Midna answered, jabbing her hair-made finger towards the creature with too much emphasis, and so plunging it in the unspecified amphibian eye socket, making it scream in agony. They are summoned, so it doesn't count. And even then, unspecified amphibian. Got it? I hope you are happy now. Thanks to you, the narration as well got fucked up. The blonde said as he grabbed the beast's tongue to pull it out violently and held it in between the two of them. See? This is clearly a frog's prehensile tongue. It is not my fault if you can't tell those two species apart and got everyone confused. But look at this tongue for real. Does it look like the tongue of a frog to you? Midna answered, it's a fucking frog. The blonde said, punching blindly on the thing's head, making it go deep underground and cracking its helmet-like head. It's a toad. The imp girl yelled back, frog. He said, jabbing in hand towards it, and unknowingly in its remaining, I'm making it howl in agony once more. Toad. She answered, punching its head herself and completely shattering its helmet. Frog. The shinobi yelled, stomping down, making a stalactite fall down, impaling the beast back. Toad. Midna roared as she shoved the thing against the wall with a telekinetic blast in her haste to go forehead against forehead with her companion. Frog. Toad. Toad. Naruto said, smirking. Frog. Midna answered, furious. And I said that it's a toad. The shinobi answered, it's a frog. A frog. And that's the end of it. The girl shrieked. HHA. I got you. He said in triumph. What? You asshole. Midna growled, once realized. Guys. Utsukushi yelled. What? Both answered at the same time with a furious expression. The thing is dead. The vixen replied, pointing at the splattered on the wall remnants of the thing. It's a frog, call it like that. No, it's a toad. Who the fuck cares? It's dead, and dropped a chest. WOHO, and all that crap. Now grab whatever is inside that box, and let's continue with this farce. Utsukushi roared in answer, making the other two shrink under her glare. Okay. Both human and Twilight imp muttered obediently. By the way, the physical distinctions between frogs and toads can easily get blurred because sometimes the features appear mixed or less obvious, and certain species even legitimately fall into both categories. It is not uncommon, for example, to find a warty-skinned frog that isn't a toad, or even a slimy toad. Even the more invisible stuff like cartilage structure has been found to sometimes fit both categories. See? He made his homework. The vixen answered proudly, but it was still an ugly as fuck mini-boss, whatever it was. I hope there will be something cool inside the chest. What is this? Naruto said, confused, as he took out a complex-looking gauntlet with a chain around the wrist area and a big three-fingered claw at the end of it. It's a claw shot. It's written on the tag. Midna answered, pointing at the small tag dangling from the gauntlet. How does it work? Point it somewhere and shot the claw. She tried answering with a shrug. Let's see. This should be the trigger and WHOA. He said before the claw, the gadget shot forward, grabbing a faraway switch before dragging him towards it, activating it, opening the gate to a new room. This is so fucking awesome, Naruto said as he hurried through the newly opened door. Oi, let me try. Let me try. Midna ordered immediately. No, come on. She whined in answer. I'm the hero. I use the cool shit by. He answered, shooting the claw again and zooming away. I want to try it. The imp girl yelled, chasing him. Oh god, they're worse than kids. Utsukushi groaned in disbelief. Hey, if I focus chakra on it, it grabs everywhere, even where it shouldn't. Oh, I love this. The blonde shinobi said with a joyful laugh as he kept swinging around the temple like a ninja Spider-Man. Focus. That should be the last lever of this place. All the water passages should now be open. We need to see if we can now find the last piece of the fuse shadow now that every road has become accessible. The vixen said, and if it is like the other pieces, then some kind of monster should be there waiting because corrupted by that stuff. Naruto answered. It's the last one. We have almost done. Can you do this for me? Midna asked. For you? Of course. All this and more for you, Midna-chan. He answered with a wide smile. Thank you. She muttered with a tiny smile. So, we have the boss room key, and we pretty much combed every room. Where is that huge-ass lock and the monster that will curiously need me use the claw shot to defeat it? The young man asked aloud. You can't know that the item we got will be the exact same you'll need to defeat the boss. Midna answered, crossing her arms. Last time it would have been like that with the iron boots, and the bow had Naruto lack ninja training. Utsukushi answered. Coincidences, whatever. Let's go. Naruto answered as he launched himself on the stairs-turned water slide to reach the bottom. Midna said, mimicking him as well. I want we to. The vixen whined, pouting. 1 hour later. Okay. We double-checked everywhere. Where have they hidden that room? The blonde asked, huffing as he sat on the immense, moving ramp of stairs. Under you, I think, Midna said as she turned around the magical compass while focusing on finding the boss room. You sure? The blonde man asked, confused. The compass says so. She answered. Fuck it. Rasengan. Naruto answered, jumping high, before slamming down a beach ball-sized ball of spiraling chakra and demolishing the whole thing in a giant cloud of dust and debris. There was an archway behind the stairs. Utsukushi said, chuckling. Oh. Well, if they ask, I'll blame the bokoblins. Naruto answered, shrugging. We didn't meet any. Midna said, details. He answered, opening the door with the key and jumping down the trapdoor hidden behind the closed gate. Deep under the lakebed temple, the area was a giant round cave with several ruined pillars. The absolute silence that greeted the former shinobi only made his senses stay on edge, as he expected an attack coming from pretty much everywhere. Do you sense anything? Midna asked with a low voice. Bad intentions under us. It's hidden under the sand, Utsukushi answered. SSSH. Something is moving. Naruto answered as he could see the sand at the bottom start moving. Tentacle. Electrified tentacle. Midna shrieked as a semi-transparent tentacle sprouted from underground, prodding around. GUH. It has an eye inside. The young man groaned with a grimace as an eye climbed inside the thing to glare at him. It was when the thing saw Naruto that another half-dozen tentacles came out, followed by a big, bulbous body with 2 sets of fanged mouths, one inside the other, that soon growled in hunger. Try catching that eye with the claw shot, Utsukushi said. Why not? Get over here. The shinobi barked, launching the claw forward and grabbing the eye of the Twilight aquatic Morpheal before it could disappear inside its head and dragging it toward himself to grab it. See? The gadget we have found before, it's helping beating the big boss of the very same dungeon we found it in. The vixen said with a vindictive smile. This means nothing. The imp girl answered weakly. Shrieking in absolute rage, the rest of the body of Morpheal came bursting out of the ground to chase the laughing Naruto around the wide room. What's wrong? Miss something? The shinobi asked as he swam faster and creating clones with their own fake eye under their arms to confuse the monster. It's an eel? Or a moray? Naruto asked as he dived rapidly, making the boss slam its head against the wall. If you ask me, that's clearly an eel. Midna answered. No, we are not going through this again. Now fight that thing, kill it, and recover the fused shadow. Now, Utsukushi ordered. Okay. Naruto answered, unsealing Samahata and throwing the eye at Morpheal, making it swallow it instantly. The weak point? That thing seems to have a hard skin, Midna said as the eye reappeared on the beast's back. I fear I just returned it. The blonde answered, sighing as the Twilight aquatic charged him with its fanged mouth wide open. Whatever, just kill it, the 10-tailed vixen said in alarm. With a dull impact, the living sword Samahata went lodged vertically inside the creature's mouth to stop it from biting the shinobi in half. Let's show this little fish who's got the biggest fangs. Samahata, the blonde said, pumping industrial quantities of chakra inside the blade, making it grow in size until it forced Morpheal's mouth open to the breaking point and making its razor-sharp scales dig into its flesh, making the monster roar in pain. Now that the mouth is occupied, let's deal with the eye, he then said, climbing on the beast's back to grin wickedly at the only eye it possessed. You are definitely an easy boss. It's kind of pathetic, but whatever. This trip under the lake lasted even too long. Ready for the beating of a lifetime? The young man asked, cracking his knuckles, making the beast whimper and shake its giant head. Now say my name, bitch. The shinobi screaming, plunging his fist deep into Morihil's orbit. Kaya! The creature screamed in utter pain, trashing violently and purposely slamming its head against the walls to shake Naruto off. Useless. Now die. Raikira. Lightning cutter Rasengan. Still with his hand deep inside the monster's eye, the blonde focused lightning element chakra in his fist to create an electrified version of his Rasengan, and using Utsukushi's stolen chakra to actually use that element for the jutsu. In a humongous explosion of darkish blood, the whole head of the creature exploded, turning in huge portion of the water, filling the arena red. It worked. I guess other elements can be added to the Rasengan other than wind then, Naruto said happily as he recovered Samahata to seal the sword back. Do not forget that it is thanks to me if you can do that. You are the vessel of the pure, ten-tailed embodiment of badassery. Utsukushi said smugly as the rest of the boss body slammed a last time against the walls and finally opening in whole, making every drop of water pour out. Where do you think all that water went? Midna asked, curious about where hundreds of thousands of gallons of water could disappear to. Deep underground, two Gorin were happily relaxing in a hidden cave while bathing in a pit of molten lava as if it was a jacuzzi. And with the bubbling of the molten rock, the effect was actually the same. You know what we lack to make this even better? Gorpiro said, sighing and leaning back. What? Something nice to drink. Splayaways. Are you happy now? Back with Naruto. Who cares? The blonde answered as the body of Morpheal exploded into black fragments, soon condensing into the last piece of the fused shadows. There it is, the last piece. The imp girl said happily as she came out of the shinobi's shadow. You know, now that I look at the pieces better, they kind of remember me of your helmet. He said, maybe. In the meantime, I'll just take that. Thanks, she said, grabbing it before giving to the young man a strong hug. Think nothing of it. It has been fun in the end, he answered, chuckling. So you don't resent me for all I've put you through, right? We really need this thing. We have to do something about Zant, the one who thinks he is the king of shadows. Minna said, worried. I already explained to you that I am more open-minded than what you thought we that live in the light normally are. No need to worry about me being bothered by the fused shadows. The blonde answered, waving her of. You sure? His power is a false one. But he is still powerful. OH. She tried saying before his peck to her lips silenced her. Sure, Naruto answered, smiling. Then let's go. We'll prove Zant's weakness using these. I have dragged you all over the place to do everything I needed to. But now it's time. Midna answered, opening a portal near the two. Together? He asked, presenting his hand. Together. She answered, smiling and grabbing his hand, as both disappeared inside to return in the Light Guardian's chamber in Lake Hylia. Lake Hylia. What? Both Naruto and Midna yelled at the same time as the area was once again covered in twilight, with the Light Guardian reduced into a tiny sphere of light. What shocked them was that the portal they used only worked for Midna, making her tumble out while Naruto was forced to stop while still inside it, and turning into his nine-tailed fox shape because of the twilight power. What's happening? Midna asked, looking around shocked. Waiting for them, there was a man with a rich-looking robe and wearing a masked helmet showing a devilish face sticking out its tongue. Zant! The imp girl roared in rage. Oh, did you honestly mean to take an ancient and withered power like this and turn it against me? Forcing her up in the air, paralyzed, and stealing away the fused shadows. Midna! Let her go, you fucking bastard! Naruto howled as he started slamming against the barrier, stopping him from coming out of the portal and making cracks appear on it. Silence, you beast! And you are a foolish traitor, Midna. Zant answered nonplussed as he walked closer to the trapped girl. Better a traitor than being something like you, she answered, spitting at his feet. Why do you defy your king? Zant asked with a mock sigh. Focus my Biju chakra and let's rip him a new one, Utsukushi said as the transformed shinobi's body now started shining in red energy, making the barrier holding him whine under the stress of holding him prisoner. My king, you, who do nothing but abuse the magic of your tribe. You must be joking, Midna answered, snarling. How dare you? Zant growled out. Are you implying that my power is all magic? Now that is a joke. He then asked with a calmer tone. With an unseen pull, the masked man slammed the imp girl down on the ground behind him before dragging her on the floor, and then keep her in front of himself to caress her back. Midna, did you forget? That beast you hang around with is one of the light dwellers who oppressed out people. Zant tried saying before the girl's snort stopped him. You mean Naruto? He is not even Hylian, you dumbass. He comes from another land altogether. He has no idea about what our world looks like or the history behind our kind. He is helping Hyrule just because he is a nice guy and hates self-centered fools like you. Nothing more and nothing less. Midna answered, chuckling, before the power, holding her momentarily squeezed her whole body in a painful manner. What's with that language? He growled. And I should grace you with a proper way of speaking? Over my dead body. She answered defiantly. Oh, he has been a bad influence then. But no matter how much you may desire otherwise, you will never be more than a shadow in their world. You cannot consort with their kind, Zant said with a mocking tone. Oh, so that's how it is. You are jealous, Midna said with a vindictive grin. What? You hate the fact that I would more likely stay with him more than you, isn't it? It burns to know that, and it is consuming you from inside. It's impossible, you say? Well, let me tell you that I saw what he is packing down there, so I am more than eager to have lots of test runs to see if our kind can mix with theirs. Over and over again, she said, amused. Silence. The man snapped, slamming her on the floor. We can make their world ours, Midna. Light and darkness will meet at last. Our tribe will take back their realm, and sweet darkness will blot out this harsh light. The man added, stalking closer to the down girl. And that, Midna, is why I need you. The man added while towering over her as the lower part of his mask opened to show a fanged mouth twisted in a hungry sneer. Tsh, not just for me, but for all of our people. Lend me your power, Zant said, leaning closer to her face. And I need you to not talk so close to my face. You are killing me with your breath. She replied, snarling. So be it. I will return you to the light world you covet. The man answered, furious, as he lifted her again to force her to hover above the water of the spirit spring. Mineo! Naruto yelled in horror as the light guardian was forced out, making his pure light shine blindingly on Midna, burning her body now that she had now shadows protecting her and making her scream in pure agony. Fool, Zant muttered, forcing the light spirit back into the water to let the heavily burned Midna fall at his feet with her body now appearing negative-colored out of the almost fatal exposure, making him chuckle as he prepared himself to deliver the killing blow to the fallen imp girl. This power is granted to me by my God. It is the magic of the King of Twilight, and you will respect it, the masked man said, charging a sphere of energy in front of himself and directing it to the down Midna. Grah! At that, an inhuman scream of rage shocked the whole cave, causing the masked Twilight to start trembling as the barrier he had set up to stop the shinobi got blown to dust, shocking him. You asshole! With a deafening bestial roar, the portal 2 exploded, and a blur moved past, Zant destroying the sphere of energy in his hands and grabbing Midna to move her on his back, uncaring that a piece of whatever the man tried launching at her was rapidly sinking in his forehead. GG gurgle? Zant gurgled out in both shock and fear as he finally registered that not only his arm, but the whole left half of his body had just been turned into a fine red mist by the charging Jinchuriki before falling to the side, bleeding heavily. Now I need to help my Midna, but next time I will kill you. You and whoever is that you call a god. Remember, Naruto growled before dashing away from the cave with his hate-filled slitted eyes as red as blood, burning their hateful glare in the man's brain, making him shudder in horror. Emma, my lord. Help me. The scarred and wounded Zant whispered weakly as a dark aura covered him, making him disappear from the cave that got free from the twilight as soon as he returned to Hyrule Castle. Not far away. Hang on, Midna. I am here. I am here, the shinobi said as he hurried away. Naruto, she muttered weakly. I am here. I should have helped you. I should have stopped him, he said, stopping momentarily to look at her with sad eyes. You said, my Midna, the girl muttered with a weak chuckle. Mine and no one else's, he answered, sighing. So you really want me? Only if you want me yourself. Now shut up and save your strength. I need to find someone able to help you, Naruto answered as he started again to run. Hero chosen by the goddesses. The disembodied voice of the Light Guardian said, echoing in the shinobi's head. What do you want? I am busy, so I have no time for your bullshit. He answered as he desperately whacked his brain to find a solution. Go to the princess locked away in the castle. That princess holds the key that can unlock you from your shadow form. I don't give a fuck. Tell me how to help Midna instead. Naruto roared back. Zelda. Zelda can help us. Midna whispered weakly. Hear me now, you fucker. If she dies, once dealt with Zant and whoever is helping him, I will come for you all. It was your light to reduce her like this. The transformed blonde said, sending a glare to the sky, oblivious of his threat, actually shaking the Light Guardian. Hold on, I will run for real this time. He then said, covering her with his tails before focusing chakra in his legs. The resulting sprint literally caused the terrain behind him to explode as he ran faster than he ever had before. Hyrule Castle Town. The few night guards present were patrolling the tall wooden gate when they saw the tall cloud of dust moving close to them at impossible spring along, feeling the earth tremble under their feet. Close the gate! Close the gate! The captain yelled in alarm, making the tall door close with a dull clang. Sound! Out of my way! Naruto yelled as he tore down the imposing door from its hinges and launched back the various soldiers, refusing to slow down, not even for an instant. Vous got breached. A soldier yelled in shock. The doors. Doors that resisted the attack of whole armies. Destroyed. The captain muttered at seeing both halves dented and broken lying on the floor. With Naruto, Telma's bar. She said she has a hidden passage for the castle hidden in there. Utsukushi said, making the foxified shinobi twist in his run to find the bar. Nah, Naruto. Midna muttered weakly. I am here. We're going to find Zelda. She'll help you. Just stay with me. He answered. I am tired. You'll sleep later. Now keep your eyes open. We are almost there. When he reached the bar, though, he found a Gorin waiting for him. Beast, get out. The tall rock-made creature said. In answer, Naruto simply snapped and headbutt later, and the several tons of Gorin bodyguard went sent flying inside the bar and against the faraway wall where he got stuck with empty eyes. Enough of this. I have no time to waste. The now furious shinobi bellowed as the other people present readied their weapons to attack him. Attack me, and you die. Now stand down. He hissed. You beast. We will. A woman said, holding her sword tightly. I said stand down. Naruto replied, making the floor under him give in into a crater and scarring the present to the core. Telma, I saved your sorry ass to take you to Kakariko. I helped the Gorns with their minds. I helped the Zora to get out from being an ice block, and I am helping Hyrule ever since this mess started. Now it's your turn to move your ASS and help me. You helped. Naruto? Telma asked with wide eyes. Help me for fuck's sake, or I will tear down this place and find the secret passage myself. He answered with a desperate scream. Naruto. Ashuri. Zelda. Midna said weakly. That girl. What's with her? The woman asked while signaling to the others to stand down. I need Zelda. I need her help. I don't know what turned you into a beast, but I could recognize those eyes of yours everywhere. Follow me. Telma answered, taking a deep breath and motioning him to follow. But, Telma, one of the men tried saying, silence. This is nothing of your business. He has been turned into that, and his friend is clearly a step close at dying. After all he has done for everybody, it's only fair someone helps him in return. She answered, please. Princess Zelda. Midna pleaded, everything will be fine. Little girl, trust me. Come this way, Naruto. What we need is in the attic. Telma said, guiding him upstairs. The attic? In there I have a secret passage connected to the castle's waterway. It will bring you inside, but once there you'll have to find the princess on your own. She answered, thank you, Telma. He said, grateful. No, thank you. You are doing great things, as the Gorin leader himself sent that guard you just blasted away. I fear he didn't recognize you immediately, but I'll inform my friends about our hero turning into a fox, so they'll know that the big nine-tailed fox is on our side and help you. Now go. There is no time to waste. The woman answered, keeping the door open for him. Thank you. I won't forget this. He said, hurrying inside. Are you sure you did the right thing? One of the costumers asked, unsure. That fox, in truth, is the bravest man I had ever seen. The strongest, as even if turned into a beast, he still can and will fight for what's right. I was told from Rinadu that there is a man trying to track Naruto down to take him away, uncaring if like that Hyrule lose its last hope. We need to keep that Jiraiya away from Naruto at all costs. The boy is here to start a new life and is already risking it to help a bunch of strangers he never met before. For all intent and purposes, Hyrule is his home now, and we all need to do our part to help him. Telma answered with a grave tone. I see. Very well. I'll make the others know. We'll keep an eye open both on him and that man. Do you have a description? He answered with a fierce nod. Tell everybody to listen carefully. He's a spy master, so we'll have to be careful. The woman answered. Meanwhile, without even bothering to check why, Telma had a room filled with gold and a very human-looking statue of a man sitting on a rich chair. Naruto simply tore open the chest that was hiding the entrance to the secret passage to dive inside it. This place, do you remember? It's close to where we met the first time, he said with a sad tone. You were so scary looking. Midna answered weakly. And you a pain in the ass, but by now I like you just for that reason among many others. I like you, too, she answered with a tiny smile. Then a date would be possible once done with Zant? Do not joke. In a moment like this, I am serious, Midna. But, I am disgusting. I find you adorable instead. Beautiful even, so my offer stands, Midna-chan. Naruto answered seriously as he sped up to run vertically on the wall to shorten the distance between him and Zelda. Thank you, she answered sobbing, making him feel something wet run on his neck in correspondence of her face getting buried in it that he decided to not comment on. Spiders! Atsukushi yelled. Grawa! With a mighty scream, the transformed blonde grabbed the leg of one of the giant spiders with his mouth to fling it towards the other before biting the head of both clearly off. Where to? He asked. Down there, it seems like some cave-in buried the entrance. But hurry up, Minna seems to get weaker by the minute. The vixen answered worried. Can't you do anything? Naruto asked as he managed to dig his way under the rubbles. Very little. I can influence her body a little with my chakra, but she is too different from a human, so I don't know how she will react if I use too much. The now human-looking Biju answered, shaking her head. Thank you all the same. He answered. Thank you. Just stay silent, damn it. Not even when a step close at dying, you can keep that trap closed. Atsukushi said sadly. Never. For you, furball. Midna answered. We're almost there. Just few minutes, and we are there. Naruto answered as he ran up to the spiral staircase towards the upper part of the castle and already recognizing the path towards Zelda's room. Bulblins, birds, bats, spiders. Either you move or die. Out of my way. The shinobi bellowed as he charged forward, demolishing whoever and whatever stood in its path. It was with a sense of deep elation that he finally saw the window to the princess room. He immediately dived into the loom for the woman. Zelda! Zelda! Naruto yelled frantically. Nah, Naruto! Midna whispered as she fell down from his back. Midna! He answered, moving at her side immediately. I am here, Zelda said, caressing the girl's cheek with a pained expression. Please tell me, how do we break the curse on this one? Midna asked weakly while grabbing one of Naruto's paws with all her remaining strength. Who cares about that? He answered. No, you are the one. They need you to save your world. The imp girl answered with a sad smile. No, that's why. Princess, please, you must help Naruto. Midna pleaded. Zelda simply moved a hand on the shinobi's head, making the back of her hand shine in a bright golden light before nodding with a sigh. What binds him is a different magic than what transformed him when he first passed the curtain of Twilight. It is an evil power, Zelda said, closing her eyes deep in thought. Our world is one of balance. Just as there is light to drive away darkness, so, too, is there benevolence to banish evil. Head for the sacred grove that lies deep within the lands guarded by the spirit Farron. There you will find the blade of evil's bane that was crafted by the wisdom of ancient sages. The Master Sword. The princess said. And how is that supposed to help us? Naruto asked. The Master Sword is a sacred blade that evil can never touch. And as evil cloaks you like a dark veil, that blade is the only thing that can cleave it. Zelda answered. Fine. Naruto, you can't. You can get to the woods. On your own, right? Midna said weakly. I'm not moving from here until you are okay, Midna. For once I want to be selfish and first follow what I want instead of what everyone else wants me to do. He answered, shaking his head. You idiot. You incredible. Funny. Idiot. The imp girl said, caressing his foxy face lovingly. Princess, I have one last request. She added. Yes, Midna, can you tell him where to find the mirror of Twilight? The other asked, making Zelda gasp in shock. Midna, I believe I understand now just who and what you are. Despite your mortal injuries, you act in our stead. These dark times are the result of our deeds. Yet it is you who have reaped the penalty. The princess answered. Zelda, accept this now, Midna. I pass it to you. The woman said, grabbing Midna's hand with both of hers. No, she is sacrificing herself to save me. Naruto, stop her. Midna yelled with wide eyes. Wait, you can do that? The shinobi asked, moving a paw up to touch Zelda's hands. Yes, she answered. Then use me. No. Midna screamed in horror. I can't do that. You are too important. Zelda answered. And you two are too stupid. You do not know me. I am an Uzumaki by blood. We possess enough life force to survive through everything, even what would normally kill a normal human. And I personally surpassed even those limits in the past. I can survive whatever stress you will impose on me. And if I have to shorten my lifespan just to save Midna, then so be it. He answered. Are you sure? Zelda asked. No, please, Naruto. No. Midna pleaded. Go ahead. He answered with a sharp nod. I envy you, Naruto, hero sent by the goddesses, as even the power they gifted me with has nothing on the strength of your spirit. Give me your hand. The princess answered with a suffered sigh, and grabbing the offered paw with one hand while using the other to grab Midna's hand. No, please, no. The imp girl pleaded in tears. Just shut up, Midna. Naruto answered, grinning as a golden light surged from Zelda's body to envelop the three of them. Ugh! The shinobi groaned as he felt his very spirit start burning like fire, and yet clenching his teeth as hard as he could. In that moment, the world froze as three women with their body made out of light appeared in the room to look at the transformed shinobi. You are showing a great will, Hero Namikaze, Neria said as the three walked close to the fox, ready to sacrifice your own life for the sake of your precious people. Faror added as the goddesses knelt down to be at eye level with him, lending your strength, your power to strangers just because you felt it was the right thing to do and never once regretting your choice, but pushing forward to protect the innocents. Din said, moving a hand on his head to caress his fur. We shall grant you your wish, Hero Namikaze. Your friend Midna will be healed, and you will continue with your journey to save Hyrule. The goddess of wisdom said, nodding and adding her hand to Din's. You will be recompensed for your struggles when this is over, and we will remember you as our hero of power. The goddess of courage added, moving her hand above her sister's. My mark, hero of power, as a proofs of my faith in you and my choosing you as my new champion. Bring peace back to Hyrule and the Twilight Realm. We will be waiting for you up in heavens when your time will come for real. The goddess of power finished saying as the same marking of three triangles appeared on Naruto's right hand. Now raise and fight, hero of power. Your journey is not over yet. The three goddesses said, as one as light shined in the room so powerfully to shame the sun itself. An agonizing scream of pain echoed everywhere as Ganondorf grabbed his hand in disbelief to see the marking on the back of it disappear completely while the skin opened to let blood flow as if a piece of his flesh had just been ripped away. My shard, where is it? The man roared in rage at feeling only a mere spark of that power remaining inside him while the rest dissipated into nothingness. A new champion has been chosen, and he will soon come for you to finish what the others could not do. Din's voice resounded all around the evil man, making him let out a new scream of pain as his old wound from his failed execution to reopen slightly. Grah! Ganondorf screamed in rage again and again as he destroyed everything around him in his blind fury at the loss of his Triforce shard. Back in Hyrule Castle, a now completely fine Midna was slowly returning on her feet to see both exhausted princess and shinobi smile faintly at her. None of them surprised to watch the imp girl spin rapidly on her left to slap Naruto as hard as she could. You idiot! You stupid, stupid, stupid fool! She screamed before hugging him. Oi! I'm still alive though, he answered with a weak chuckle. And with a new gift yourself. Zelda added, shaking her head. I guess it means that you are officially Hyrule's hero now? Eh. Midna asked as she jumped on his back. I guess. Naruto answered uncertain, while watching his new tattoo on his paw. It was then that the princess cried out in pain, grabbing her hand. Ah! Run! Zelda yelled in fear as she shoved them towards the window. What the? Naruto said, shocked. Let's go. Midna answered, immediately teleporting both outside and far away from the castle. What's happening? Naruto asked. In answer, a black-colored barrier appeared around the castle in the shape of a prism, emanating a feeling of anguish in whoever looked in the direction of the palace. Both me and Zelda felt the Twilight magic build up for that. Either Zant tried to capture us or to stop us from doing other visits. The imp girl answered. So the bastard is still alive? Whoever is behind him can revive the fool. We'll need to eliminate both. She answered. Can't wait. Naruto said, growling. But first we'll need to resolve your curse problem. We go back, Naruto? Back to Farinwoods? Midna said in determination. Roger. The shinobi answered as he hurried in the direction of the dense forest to find that mysterious blade Zelda talked about. Soon, Midna. Soon. Zant muttered from the top of the castle while watching both move away, grabbing his regenerated arm in phantom pains, but steeling himself. His god Ganondorf will protect him. He had nothing to fear from the transformed beast. He told this to himself before returning to his master for the next step of their plan to counter what Midna and Naruto had done up until now. Still unable to find your friend, honey? The buxom bartender asked with a gentle smile as she refilled the glass of the man lying his head on her counter. He has whiskered cheeks and wears a red cloak. I thought that alone would have stood out enough for people to notice him, but damn it if I am having troubles to find Naruto. Tell Mahime. Jiraiya answered with a defeated sigh. And yet you keep coming back here. Are you hoping to find him in my bar? Or you do this just to have an excuse to see this old woman again? Telma asked with a wink and a soft laugh. Yeah. Both? The spy master answered, smiling sheepishly while blushing. Oh, good answer, sweet cheeks. She answered, amused. Look, I'll help you. Really? Jiraiya said in surprise. Yep. I'll send word around that you are looking for this Naruto boy, so you'll have more eyes scanning the streets. I know a lot of people here and outside, so together we will be able to find him. Right, guys? Telma asked to the other clients with a knowing smirk. Oh, yes. We can help, all right. One of the friends of Telma answered with his most convincing smile. Thanks, Haim. I gotta go. That brat may be good, but he won't escape me again. Jiraiya said, taking a theatrical bow and kissing her hand before bolting out, paying for his drinks first, of course. You know how you were supposed to help him, right? The woman asked as soon as she saw the toad sage leave her bar for good. Yep. If Naruto goes right, we tell that man he went left. If he is resting, we say he is still moving, and so on and so forth. The same man from before replied, making his pals nod. Thank you, guys. Until this mess is over, we can't let anyone disturb our hero. Telma answered with a grateful smile. Naragoran is a brother of the Gorons. We too will watch out for him. I heard the Zora, as well, will help, and thanks for his help in restoring their water. That human spy will have to wait to resolve his petty arguments. The Goron bodyguard of the bar added, grunting. It was a surprise to learn that the same man I, met was the same spy hunting Naruto down, but at least now I have a valid excuse at nearing him and know him better. Goddesses know we may be happy together once everything is back to normal. The woman muttered with a low, hungry chuckle escaping her. Everyone else just pretended to have not heard the last part of her answer and just did their best to not meet her eyes after that blurting out of her preferences in the romantic department. But many finally understood why Rinnedu had always did everything in his power to keep her at arm's length and inside the way safer friend zone. Later that day, Farinwoods, with Naruto and Midna. As the transformed shinobi kept rapidly running through the paths towards Farinwoods with Midna still riding his back, Naruto couldn't help but finally ask about a little piece of trivia that was still poking mercilessly the back of his mind. I still don't get it. Why now you can stay out in the light, even without Twilight covering everything? He asked, looking back to meet her eyes. Your attempted suicide to save me. Thank you, by the way, you overly gentle fool. Had even more benefits than what we both believed, apparently. Maybe. I think. I don't know. I still don't get it. Me neither. Atsukushi muttered, dumbfounded, as if I am sure of this myself. The imp girl answered, huffing. It was when the duo finally reached the entrance of the forest that the Twilight imp girl decided to pull his ear to gain his attention, making him stop abruptly. Naruto? She asked with an unsure tone. Ooh, what is it now? He asked, curious. Can we talk? We need to talk. The imp girl said. You are pregnant? Utsukushi asked with a bored tone from the seal, while picking her nose with her pinky in complete disinterest. Not yet, I mean, no. But it's something equally important. Midna answered, growling. What's happening? The blonde shinobi asked. I need to know. You need to know what? Once we have done, after Zant and whoever is behind this is gone. She said tentatively. Yes? Would you be against the idea of coming with me in the Twilight realm? You know, living together. As a couple. Midna, I can't. What about? Naruto muttered, watching her rapidly float from his back to stand in front of him with a furious expression on her face that had his blood freeze. I know. Ilya, 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 Ilya. Always her. What does she have that I have not? She can't fight. She can't use magic or your jutsu, or, Midna answered in blind anger. Not that. I was about to ask you how would we have lived together in your realm as a couple if I turn into a nine-tailed fox as soon as I get exposed to your world's magic. He interrupted her with a sad smile. Oh, that. She answered, uneasy and with a faint green blush on her face. Why you ask this so suddenly? He asked, nuzzling her a little. I can't live here with you. After this mess with Zant, everyone will be afraid of my people. There wouldn't be a place for me or the others here to stay. And I guess I don't like the idea of losing you, she said, returning to sit on his back. Really? Why? Because I love you, idiot. The imp girl answered, whispering those words directly in his ear as she pressed her face on the back of his furred neck. Here we go. I should have known this would have happened. I miss the good old days in Konoha where every girl was chasing the Uchiha boy. At least there I only had to worry about that Hyuga girl. The 10-tailed vixen muttered with an annoyed sigh as she watched her vessel look down in embarrassment and play with the dirt on the road with one of his paws. Any answer the transformed young man was about to give was forcefully interrupted when a familiar monkey wearing a small red flower on her head shrieked in fear, while being chased by wooden puppets moving on their own with their strings seemingly hanging from the air itself. Ki! The animal bellowed in fear as the things circled her, forcing the monkey to turn into a trembling ball of fur as she tried to cover her face and body at the best of her abilities. Let her go, you bastards! Naruto roared as he jumped between the monkey and the puppet-like monsters, ignoring the threat as they watched him with their empty eyes and the unnaturally wide fanged smiles etched on their face. The move closer, making the poor monkey whimper in fear. I warned you. Now I'm going to turn you to splinters. In answer to that, and with a clacking of wooden junctures, the first puppet tried to lounge forward with a swiping motion of its arm to try shoving Naruto away to reach for the monkey. Ha! A ferocious battle cry, and a bite later at the monster went thrown back to look at the broken stump of its missing arm, although the mad smile etched on its face was still there, unmoving, of course. It must be magic guiding them. I can't sense chakra nearby, so there is no shinobi puppet user around. Utsukushi said with narrowed eyes. Good, at least it means we still have not Hunter Neens chasing us down. The transformed shinobi answered, nodding. Jumping over the one puppet missing one arm, the nine-tailed fox pounced on another to tear off the head of the thing, making it disappear in a tiny burst of purple smoke. They act like living beings. Without the head, they can't remember their master's commands and dissipate, since there is no maintaining their magic-made body together. Midna offered, paralyzing the other puppets in her zone. Thanks. Naruto answered, using the opening to either behead or tear in half the remaining monsters. Hey, did you save me? The monkey asked, scaring the transformed blonde. Yeah, I did. He answered, panting a little. I totally forgot you can talk to animals while transformed. The 10-tailed vixen in the seal muttered. Thank you. The animal gushed happily while clapping her hands. It was nothing, the other replied, smiling. Listen, since you were so nice, let me tell you something. There's a really pretty wooded area on the other side of this cliff. Really? Naruto asked, weary. Oh! I climbed over there, but when I tried to get deeper into the woods, those guys attacked me. What's in those woods, anyway? The monkey replied, nodding. How curious for her to mention a part of the forest we still need to check now that we need something hidden in this very same area. Atsukushi muttered annoyed. Yes, it's very strange for her to pop up now with that little piece of info. Midna answered, up in the heavens, I told you it would have been too obvious that we are pushing info towards them like that, Din, Neru said sighing. It was Farore's idea, not mine. Din replied whining. We have always done things like this with the past heroes. It's not my fault if this one is a bit more mistrusting. The blushing goddess of courage muttered in answer. Very well. I'll be the one taking charge of this from now on then, as we will need a more subtle approach. Nothing wrong in helping along, but we shouldn't make him feel like we do not trust him for this mission. Neru answered sighing. Subtle? Subtle. The goddess of wisdom answered nodding. Back with Naruto. That sure is a pretty forest. You know, the one I found over there on the other side of the cliff. Okay. I'm gonna check it out. I get it. The blonde answered annoyed. Up in heaven. Oh, now I see. Subtle help? Well done. Din said smirking. Shut up. My hand just slipped. Back on Earth. A last thing. The monkey said, stopping the shinobi. What? Naruto asked. Your smell. It's so familiar. It smells a bit like a red-clad prince who helped me out once. Ho-ho. I'm not a prince, but thank you all the same. Bye. Naruto answered laughing, before hurrying away towards the cliff the animal pointed him towards. Oh, he's a fox now? Humans are so strange. The monkey muttered confused, while the small animal was still trying to wrap her head around the blonde's strangeness. Said shinobi was calmly walking on the side of the cliff's walls to reach a more hidden tunnel connecting the cliff to a new section of the forest. Okay, monkey distraction aside, we still have a sword to find? Up for the task? Midna asked as soon as a couple of pesky bats went scared away by the growing fox she was riding. I never was one to back down. And, Midna? The transformed blonde answered. Yes, about you and me. Me too. He said smiling while shaking his back a little to make the imp on his back shake slightly. I already knew that. How could you not love me? I am me. She answered while trying to not smile too widely. Say. Atsukushi growled, making both jump at the interruption. Why do you think there are whole chunks of wood dangling from ropes moving back and forth as if to act as further obstacles? She asked annoyed. And maybe they were collecting wood and simply had to escape from some monsters and so left everything like that? Naruto offered nervous. Seems logic. Midna added lamely. Sorry if I ignored you. Just see to not turn this into a habit. Now, keep going. We still need to heal you from this curse-like thing. And I want you to say that you love me. Otherwise, I won't forgive you. Atsukushi answered huffing. I am waiting. I don't know, Midna-chan sure is cute. He thought with a mischievous smile. Don't you dare. You know I love ya, furball. He muttered shyly. Tsh. Unheard by the two, Midna just grumbled with a scrunched nose. And yet those two managed to snuggle inside your heart and carve a little cozy space for themselves in it. Sigh. What do I have to do with you? Atsukushi, I love you to pieces, that's the problem. Bah. Whatever. Just leave Ilya behind. If I have to let another woman stay around you, then I want her to be at least a bit useful. Yes. And I am definitely not going to do my best to make him break up with you too. Tch. Never. Contrary to you, furball, I don't share what is mine. Minna thought huffing. If you were sure. The transformed shinobi said uncertain. A new voice said joining the scene in the shape of a wolf made of golden light. You again? Naruto asked annoyed. There is a very valid reason as to why I am here. Deep in that part of the forest there is a temple. In that temple resides the master sword that you need to break your curse. The hero ghost said uncertain. But? Midna said sighing. Well, you will need to play a certain tune to activate the test of worth to reach the sword. And you have not an ocarina, nor you can howl by yourself as a way to mimic it. I think you can see where is the problem now. The ghostly wolf answered. I think I do. What now? Naruto asked with a defeated tone. Does your friend know how to whistle? The wolf asked. No. Midna answered blushing. Wonderful. I hope you are ready to learn then. You'll have to be the one to play the tune, otherwise you too won't get far. The hero shade answered sighing himself. So it seems, sorry Midna, if I have to. I hope it won't be too hard. The imp girl answered dropping her shoulders. Meanwhile, elemental countries, Konoha, Hokage Tower. Ignoring the issues the transformed blonde and Midna were facing. In the small office of the shinobi village's leader, the various teams formed by the old members of Naruto's Genin class were waiting with various degrees of anxiety for Tsunade to enter her office, so to answer to the woman's summoning. Why do you think Tsunade-sama called us here? Ino asked curious. Maybe she needs all of us for a joint mission somewhere? Rock Lee answered unsure. That would mean that we are talking about something really big to have Hokage-sama summon all of us. Shikamaru answered, shaking his head. In a way it is. To be exact, should my suspicions held true, we may need all the help we can gather to pull this off. Tsunade answered as she and Shizen marched inside. Good morning, Hokage-sama. The assembled Chunin, once proud genin, answered as one with a deep bow. Relax. Is everyone here? The Senju woman asked, unfolding a wide map on her desk. All present, Hokage-sama. Sakura answered, nodding. Can I ask a question? Kiba said, rising his hand. Be quick. Tsunade answered. Why only we are here? Why not our old teachers as well? Or any other team? The Inuzuka boy asked, confused. I'll be covering it in my speech, so be patient. Now, Shikamaru? Shino? Please explain to us what you see here. The Hokage answered as she moved to fix the map she was carrying on a near wall of her office so that everyone could see it. It's a map, Hokage-sama. This seems to be our continent, but with added notes detailing the elemental nation's territories and their commercial routes, both on land and by sea. Shino Aburame answered. Good. Are you seeing nothing strange in particular? Tsunade answered, looking at the two with a sharp glare. Each village and their respective routes are color-coded. Green for Konoha, blue for Mist, yellow for Kumo, and so on, bar one that has a color for its own, the orange one. Shikamaru answered after a short pause as he traced said line on the sea with a finger. And where does that lonely line passes by? Tsunade asked. Very close to Kumo, and especially close to the island we had sent Naruto to. The Nara boy said slowly as his eyes widened in realization. That's why they used orange. Sasuke muttered, chuckling despite himself. I won't tell you exactly where Naruto is for reasons of security, but know this. That line is very special. It belongs to a very small, unassuming private ship of fishermen, an equally lonely and half-forgotten fish restaurant of Mist sometimes makes business with. They come this close to us, and that island only once in a very wide time window. But they stay too far to touch any coast and or island besides their client, and too far for a normal shinobi to reach them by water walking. Tsunade answered with a pleased nod. So, he got on that ship? How? Chuji asked, curious. We know for certain that he had hinged himself into a Fuma Shuriken and had a clone throw him at Gamma Bunta. Hoping for the summoning boss to either dodge or deflect him, he instead got grabbed and tossed away. So he either untransformed and reached that ship by himself or, Shikamaru answered, or that luck of his had him literally fly to them. Kiba added with a sigh of disbelief. It may be why he decided to fight Gamma Bunta that exact day, when he knew the ship would pass close enough to the island for him to board it. Tsunade said, shaking her head, sighing. How did you discover this, Tsunade-sama? Sakura asked. Jiraiya noticed the timing and normal route of that ship by chance. Most Hunter Nin and spies instead made the mistake of assuming that extra chakra aside, even Naruto would have not been that crazy to try boarding it while dozens of ANBU were hunting him down, especially by walking on those waters. To be safe, Jiraiya had since covered those traces as well, so that only him, me, and now you others would know about it. He made sure, among other things, to have it appear as if the ship could not go the usual way that exact date, so to remove the chance others too could decide to try looking there. The Hokage answered. So Jiraiya-sama is hunting Naruto down? Tenten asked. Last time I heard him, he had actually found him. Tsunade answered, grimacing, expression that caused the others cheering to die abruptly. What has that old man done? Sasuke asked, groaning. I guess Orochimaru did tell you something about me and him as well when you were with him. The idiot has apparently used the wrong approach while talking with our blonde friend. The woman answered, groaning herself. He has not given Naruto the idea that we are hunting him down like a missing Nin, right? Sakura asked with a pleading tone. Tsunade actually covered her answer with a clearly fake coughing fit while managing to evade the stares of everyone present. Ooh, God. Niji muttered in disbelief while face-palming. Now how do we convince him that Suna, Spring, Mist, various minor villages, and Konoha won't let anyone touch him? That the banishment order will soon be over? Sakura asked, shocked. As for now, we don't know where he actually is, since he is evading Jiraiya at the best of his abilities along having the locals help him staying under the radar. But we're doing our best. Figures, he probably already befriended half the continent he escaped in by now. Kiba said, groaning. Only half? Ino said mockingly. I'm an optimist. The other answered with a weak smile and a shrug. What do you need us to do, Shirsho? Sakura asked, misleading. We still can't have people know where he is until the banishment order expires and he is back. Otherwise, he will never trust us again. The Hokage answered, sighing. You want us to spread as many fake info as we can, Hokage-sama? Shino asked. You are his friends. People will be more akin to believe you're slipping tidbits of info here and there when you think no one is listening if you are the ones talking. You don't even need to pay attention and not being contradictory with each other. On the contrary, the more different leads we can spread around, the better. That's why I didn't ask to your former Jounin sensei to come here. Their reaction will be more honest if they don't know about this. Gaara has come up with this idea and shared the plan with me. Tazuna-sen and Wave will be doing the same during his drunk ramblings, just like Princess Koyuki's men will. Until Jiraiya doesn't manage to fix the mess, it will be best if no one else from the elemental countries contact Naruto. We do not need him to panic and think that there is some sort of massive hunt for his head ongoing. Tsunade answered. So no writing? No letters or anything else? Sasuke asked, shocked. None whatsoever. Believe me if I say that I too would love to write him and explain, but as for now, he would probably take every word we say as potential lies. Even he has limits in this sort of things. The woman answered tiredly. We will do our best, Hokage-sama. We will cover Jiraiya-sama's movements along Naruto-kun's, so when he will forgive us and return, he will see that we didn't tell a soul where he was hiding. Lee said with literal flames of determination burning in his eyes. I really hope this will be enough. Not a word with anyone about this plan. Only the ones present here have to be in the know, or I will take precautions to ensure your secrecy. You are dismissed. Tsunade ordered with narrowed eyes and cold voice. Hi. The assembled Chunin answered as one. Hinata? Please remain here. The Hokage said, making the Hyuga heiress remain while the others rapidly left the office. Yes, you okay? Tsunade asked with a gentle smile, while moving a hand on the girl's shoulder. I still miss him. She answered, looking down. We'll take him back. We will explain everything and earn our forgiveness. Everything will be back to normal. We will? Hinata asked, hopeful. Don't you trust your Hokage? Tsunade asked with a mock glare. The girl half-shrieked immediately. Then move along and follow my instructions. The other said, playfully shoving her out of the office and slamming the door closed. Aren't you deluding her, Tsunade-sama? Shizen asked, sighing. Just like I am deluding myself, Shizen. Then that makes it 3 with me. The woman said, shaking her head. Who knows? It may end well instead. Tsunade offered with a tiny, unsure smile. Who knows? Shizen answered with a similar expression. Unknown to them, it will be that misguided attempt at letting him have his space and calm down from his tantrum, as they called it, and they're not trying to contact him to explain their reasons. That will be the major catalyst of the rift between them and the blonde, not decreasing, but instead enlarging. Either because of their pride or the fear of Naruto's reaction, none of them seemed to understand that they were in fact taking the wrong approach in trying to earn his forgiveness. And the more they waited for things to fix themselves, the worse things will get in the end. Back in Hyrule, with Naruto and Midna. No. It's AG, not AC. The spirit of the ancient hero said, annoyed. I am trying, okay? I have not a tab to read. Midna answered, annoyed. Can you howl it again, please? Naruto asked. Fine. But so help me, I will have you learn and whistle that tune even if it is the last thing I do. The ghost wolf answered, growling before taking in a huge breath and slowly howling said tune, while purposely elongating each note to help Midna understand. It would have been easier had you turned into a wolf. Midna muttered, sorry, not that hero. I am the substitute chosen one. Naruto answered, huffing, and I am the Jubi no Kitsune, not the Jubi no Ruga. Ten-tailed fox/wolf. Utsukushi added with an offended tone. Details. The Twilight imp girl replied. Hush! Stop taking and keep exercising. In the end, it took another hour for Midna to finally get both the correct tune and notes. Not in small part because the hero ghost was apparently a perfectionist when it came to teaching music, but once finally deemed acceptable, both Shinobi and Imp were given the okay to go on with their adventure. You should be able to activate the trial like that, just in case. Keep whistling until the thing responds. The spirit had said before fading away. I don't want to go through a test of worth. They are annoying, Naruto said with a whine. You are thinking about blowing up everything standing in our way with a Rasengan and be done with it, aren't you? Midna said with narrowed eyes. Yes. He answered looking down. Well, I went through all the trouble to learn how to whistle, and we're gonna at least start the thing. Then you will be free to do as you please. She answered annoyed. Yes, dear. The other said, sighing. Good. Move along then, let's find this temple or whatever is hiding what we need. See? This is why you don't need her. She is a bossy bitch. Utsukushi said, huffing. Stuff it, fleaball. I was not trying to get him whipped, but just making a statement. He knows I'm not that kind of woman. Midna answered, growling. A Miss Madara and the Akatsuki, they were easier to manage. Naruto muttered with a defeated sigh, while trying to ignore the two bickering women. Meanwhile, with Ilya, Spirit Spring near Orden Village, the girl was standing rigid as she followed every movement of the man standing in front of her. Her arms were crossed with the fingers of her hands, burying their nails in her own flesh with almost enough strength to draw blood. What do you want? She finally asked. Your help in talking with Naruto. Jiraiya answered simply while keeping distance from her, so to not antagonize her further. Why me? Ilya asked with narrowed eyes. I'm a good spy, miss. I tracked your father and heard him talk with another villager about you two being together. You are the closest one to him, and I need your help. The spy master answered. He is trying to save Hyrule. You can't pretend him to drop everything. She hissed back in anger. I know. The other replied with a tired scream before passing a hand in his long hair with a suffered sigh. I know. I fucked up in our first meeting, and now he believes that we all want him back for his powers. And in part, it's sadly true. So what? You need a living weapon? What do you know about the elemental nations? Jiraiya asked, sitting on a near rock. Pretty much everything Naruto himself knows. He told me as soon as our relationship became serious, and I promised to keep everything a secret, and I am still keeping all he told me to myself. She answered, so you know that the peace we have is one where everything stands on a precarious equilibrium? Jiraiya said, sighing. Yes. All the major villages used to keep the minor ones under control with the threat of their bigger armies and the holders of a tailed beast. At the same time, the big five are each kept at bay by the other four, so that no one of them gets too daring. As soon as one tries to overstep the other, four flex their muscles to keep the stray one in line by remembering them that they are not the strongest one. Ilya answered, good. Up until now, the 9 Biju helped doing just that, dividing them between the various villages so that no one was stronger than all the others. Like that, a sort of equilibrium was formed. Then the Akatsuki and Madara happened that threw everything down the drain. And now there is only Naruto and the now 10-tailed fox Biju inside him. Even Killer Bee, that was the only one other than him to hold a tailed beast, now holds a mere soul, as the Hachibi inside him had his powers completely absorbed by Naruto's Biju. It is not a surprise that now everyone back home has gone into a frenzy. Jiraiya answered, so, what should I do to help you? Ilya finally asked after taking in a long breath. I want Naruto to forgive me, to forgive Tsunade and Shizune and Sasuke and Kakashi and Gaara, and I want him to forgive us, to not forget us, and to come back to Konoha. Jiraiya answered, sighing. That's all? The girl said with narrowed eyes and sarcastic tone. I need you to help me convince him to come back once this crisis is over and the banishment order expires. This is a nice land, I admit it, so I can understand his wish to remain here, but his place is with us. He can't abandon everything, he just can't. All for his powers? No. All for me and his friends. We are his family, and we want him back. Does he want to be a farmer? Good. We will give him a piece of land to cultivate back in Konoha, and no one will bother him. We won't ask him to take missions unless he himself asks for them. And what about me? And the people of Orden? And will the ones that pushed for his exile be happy with his returning and being a farmer? You mean to tell me that they won't try to put him into a coma? Ever? Ilya asked. I thought so. She said coldly at seeing the spy master's silent grimace. He shouldn't have run away. We need that peace. He muttered, looking away. You have that peace already, spy master. You're just too blind to see it. A new voice said, Ruzzle. Ilya said in surprise at seeing the man joining her with a Gorin tailing behind him. What do you mean? Jiraiya asked with narrowed eyes. He has took away your living weapons, right? He has took them away and in here. Not a single village back in your land has one now, so you still have that equilibrium you so much seems to love. Only this time it's one without tailed beasts. Ruzzle answered as he and the rock-made warrior stepped in front of the girl to shield her. You want Naragorn to go back in your village. That will break the peace you now have, as he alone has that power. Whatever village he joins will then have an edge on the others. No one will be able to rest easily knowing that your village has that advantage on them. The Gorin added, "And what about us? His friend? His family?" Jiraiya asked back between clenched teeth. "Take her away, Gormuro. I will keep him occupied." Ruzzle asked, stepping forward. "I have not bad intentions," Jiraiya said, rising both hands in a non-threatening way. "He can't return home, Spy Master. He has no choice but remain here, and he knows it. He knows that now that the Biju inside him is the only one still able to fight, the more power-hungry elements of the elemental countries will always plot to enslave him." Ruzzle answered, "Hold on tight, human." Gormuro muttered as Ilya climbed his shoulder. "I am ready," the girl said, making the Gorin run away as fast as he could. "Where are you taking her?" Jiraiya asked. "To Rinnedu. He is already keeping our kids safe and will protect Ilya as well," the swordsman answered, his lie convincing enough to fool the Toad Sage. "Listen, I just want to talk to Naruto. I understand that having him back will cause trouble, but I am not ready to give up on him. No one in the elemental nations is. We want our friends back, whatever he likes it or not." Ruzzle asked with a growling whisper. "The people in charge, the daimyos, won't let him go that easily. I am the gentler way to convince him to come back. If they learn about him being in Hyrule, they will send here every capable hunter Nin at their disposal to take him back. They see him as an asset, a property, and won't accept him not obeying their orders and be their shinobi. If they discover that he is here, they will force him back. Let them come," Ruzzle answered in determination. "Ooh, you know, I bet a lot of Naruto's friends back in Konoha would be envious of that strength of will of you people should they know about this. I just hope that I will manage to convince him to come back instead. Otherwise, I don't know how much your resolve will last in front of hundreds of hunters coming here to take him back by force. But know that I hope things won't go in that direction, for you people's sake," Jiraiya said before leaving for Kakariko Town to try and talk to Ilya and Rinnedu and seek their help. Too bad instead that Ilya was being brought to Telma's bar in Hyrule Castle Town, so that the woman and the rest of her friends will protect her and let her and Naruto meet in peace whenever they want, or that three goddesses had heard what Jiraiya said and were now plotting against that scenario while glaring in hole in the Spy Master's head from up in the heavens, making him shiver by reflex. With Naruto and Midna, Sacred Groove. Kaawea. A strange kid with a blue face dressed in clothes seemingly made out of leaves and a pointy hat was screaming in fear while running through the forest on the trees and or the floor while trying to play a trumpet-like instrument shooting out dead leaves at each note. A pity that each note also kind of sounded like farts and that every time he played a new puppet monster appeared to attack both Shinobi and Imp Girl. "Come back here." Both Midna and Naruto growled in chorus while giving chase. "It was a prank. A prank. A prank." The boy bellowed in fear as the furry bullet with 9 tails behind him kept tearing to shreds whatever was put against him. Annoying people and harass them just to, "Oh, then say it's a prank, bro," when they obviously get mad is not an excuse. "Now, let me catch you," Naruto yelled in rage as he managed to bit 2 puppets in half at the same time in a single bite. "I just want someone to play with me," the kid shrieked. "What?" the transformed shinobi said, stopping abruptly. "I just want someone to play with me," the Skull Kid repeated slowly. "You don't want to hurt people, boy?" "I find it hard to believe," Midna said, huffing with crossed arms. "But I do," the kid answered with a petulant whine. "And you want us to play with you?" Naruto asked. "Oh, do that, and I will show you a special place. One with 2 very creepy statues and a locked door. I'll even let you take whatever it is behind it, if you can open it," the kid answered, nodding rapidly, with his creeping smile returning at full power. "And in exchange, you will take us to this special place," Midna answered with narrowed eyes. "Oh," the other answered, nodding. "Let's make the brat happy. The sooner we have done, the sooner we will finally return Naruto to an human body." Atsukushi said, annoyed. "We will play with you, but we aren't in a hurry, so we can't stay long, okay?" Naruto offered. "Hooray! Then catch me," the Skull Kid said happily, as with a new round of trumpet, a dozen puppet appeared to cover his escape. That was not part of the thing. Midna roared as the summoned monsters pounced on them all at once. The game in itself was simple. Find the hiding Skull Kid while chasing him through the forest. Luckily, the boy had a lit lantern in his hand, so giving away his position alone, his playing the same trumpet-like instrument. The problem was the continuous stream of puppets jumping Naruto, following the Skull Kid's twisted sense of playing. When the transformed shinobi finally managed to pounce on the boy, a last time, the creepy guy was seemingly satisfied as his body melted into leaves and flew up in the sky, leaving behind his creepy laugh and farewell. Hee hee. Bye. At those words, a near wall simply faded away, leaving a tunnel leading to a wide clearing with tiles forming the Triforce emblem on the floor and two tall statues holding a hammer-like weapon, each guarding an evidently sealed door. "We're gonna murder him the next time we meet, right?" Midna, with her uncovered eye ravaged by a tick of pure, barely restrained rage, asked. "I will kick his ass into another dimension, promise." An equally angry Naruto answered, nodding. "This should be the place that Hero Ghost talked about." "Start whistling, Midna," Atsukushi said with narrowed eyes. "Here comes nothing." Midna answered, sighing as she tried to whistle the tune the hero shade taught them, and actually taking several tries before catching the right tune and speed of the music. In answer, both the imp girl and the transformed shinobi saw everything fade to darkness, while the Triforce emblem under them lighted up in a blinding light. When their vision turned to normal, they discovered they were now standing on a pillar of rock while the rest of the terrain had been switched to a bottomless hole. Several other pillars were around them, while the same statues were standing on their own. In a cracking of rock, the two golems turned to look at Naruto while a whispering, dull voice echoed in the clearing coming from said statues that gained life and jumped to stand one in front and one behind the shinobi to better look at him. "We are the guardians of this land," the one on the front said. "Guide us to where we once stood." The one behind Naruto added. "Only then can you enter the true sacred grove." The first guardian finished saying, "Okay," with an expression pretty much identical to a certain overpowered bald superhero. Naruto grabbed the ankle of the first golem to lift it, and after a short spinning on himself, he threw it right back on the pedestal it was on at the beginning. The two golems said in shock. "One done. And that's two," the transformed shinobi said as he repeated the action with the second statue, sending it flying right back in its starting position. But, the first said, confused. "The puzzle. The challenge." The second guardian added with a tone, both whining and disbelieving. "I am in a hurry. You'll do that with the next hero. Now open that damn door." Huffing in annoyance, both guardians stood back up and slammed the back of their weapons down, making the floor return to normal and the door slid upward open. "Go now to the sacred place, bastard," the guardians muttered, annoyed. "We yield passage to the sacred grove. Just get the fuck off and don't come back," was the last thing they said before returning dormant. Sore losers," Atsukushi answered, smirking while Naruto entered the door. "There it is, the Master Sword," Midna said as soon as they finally reached the end of a short corridor. Standing in a small clearing devoid of everything and only occupied by ankle-high water stood a sword firmly plunged, tipped first on a small pedestal. "What now?" Naruto asked. "Just touch it. The purifying magic of the sword will do the rest," the imp girl answered, as if to answer itself. From the blade came an explosion of light that launched Midna away and covered everything, making the transformed shinobi grit his teeth in pain as he felt a burning sensation spread along his whole body. Interesting little thing," Midna said in surprise as a mean-looking shard of condensed magic appeared in her hands while the blonde shinobi happily looked at his hands and at his once again human body. "Oh yeah, I am back, Ak," Naruto said happily while pumping his fist high in the air. "Glad to see it. Tee. I prefer you looking like this," Midna answered as she floated near him to jokingly punch his shoulder. "I don't like this result instead," Atsukushi answered, sighing, as she was instead back into being a giant fox. "We'll find a solution for that, I promise," the blonde shinobi said with an encouraging smile. "I hope so. Next stop?" the vixen asked. "Well, we could try to." What Midna was about to say stopped when a weak voice resounded around them. "Wait, take me with you," the faint echo said pleadingly. "The sword," Naruto said, shocked. "I have never seen enchantments like this. They are ancient," Midna answered with narrowed eyes. "To defeat the evil that plagues this land, you'll need the Master Sword. Only its power can truly vanquish it," the voice said. "I'm sure me and my jutsu and samahata will be good enough. You just rest, you sound tired. The shinobi answered with a gentle smile. Please. My conscience has almost completely faded away. A last mission. The voice begged. Sigh. Okay, just use me for the finishing blow. I asked just that. I won't intrude more. The voice pleaded. Don't worry, you helped me, so I am helping you. The blond man said with a gentle smile as he grabbed on the hand to pull the sword out. As soon as the blade was completely free, the water around the area rapidly evaporated, while the light bathing the trees momentarily seemed to get even brighter before rapidly returning to normal. I guess it means that the sword accepted you as its master. Midna said, floating closer. I'll need a sheath, though. Naruto answered, unsure. Swords were still not his thing. He actually got Samahata because the light spirit seemed adamant in him using one. But he could not in good conscience not help the spirit inside it after listening to its plead. For now, seal it with your shark-like one. We'll find one next time we go to Hyrule Castle Town. The sword has been trapped here for who knows how long. May as well keep it on your back to show it the world. The imp girl answered. Yeah, sounds like a good idea. The shinobi answered before sealing the master sword in the same scroll of Samahata. This thing instead. This is interesting. Midna then said, showing the strange black shard with a mischievous smile. What is that? Naruto asked. This is the embodiment of the evil magic that Zant cast on you. It's definitely different from our tribe's shadow magic. She said, deep in thought. Nasty. I feel unease just looking at it. He answered, trying to reach for it, only for Midna to move back slightly. Careful. If you touch it, you'll turn back into a beast. She said, annoyed. Sorry, that thing is too dangerous. Wouldn't it be for the best if we just leave it here? Huh? Utsukushi asked. But on the other hand, Naruto muttered, unsure. If we keep it, you'd be able to transform into a beast anytime you wanted. Midna finished for him with a nod. Yes, since Zant was kind enough to give this to us, we should be thankful and use it all we can. The imp girl added, smirking. I was wondering, can you materialize that thing in here with me? I can keep it isolated and then just let it transform Naruto every time we need. Utsukushi asked. Why? Midna asked with narrowed eyes. Just do it. If it doesn't work, the sword will just expel it again. The vixen answered, growling. Okay. Just be quiet, furball. The small girl said, huffing annoyed, as she made the shard disappear in a burst of her magic. Utsukushi? Naruto asked as the silence kept growing longer. Furball? Midna asked in dread. She wanted the girl away from her man. Not dead. Holy shit, it worked. A gleeful scream finally echoed in both human and Twily's mind, making them flinch in agony at the volume. What worked? Naruto asked weakly, still shocked by the outburst. If I keep it, I turn into inhuman. I have a human body now. I only need a way to get out of here. Kick those two bitches away, and everything will be finally perfect. The vixen, now back in her human boy, answered excitedly. Good for you. Midna said with a tone dripping pure venom, especially for the bitch insult. Okay, I am happy this issue has been resolved as well, but can we move on now? Hyrule won't save itself. Naruto said, shaking his head in amusement. Yes, we should move. I want to keep a low profile, so I'll hide in your shadow when you are human and— No, the shinobi said, smirking. What? The imp girl asked, stumbling in her words at the interruption. Zant knows we work together, and surely he has told his boss. The monsters normally we meet will blindingly attack me regardless, and now you can safely stay in the light. Why should you hide? Naruto asked back while holding his hands on his hips. But you. We need to stay low. And Midna tried saying, I wear a red coat with black flames and an orange and black jumpsuit under it. Clothes no one else in Hyrule apparently has. I have my face covered by the hawk mask and my hood at all times, and carry a huge scroll strapped horizontally on my back. I am hyper-recognizable already. A cute imp riding my shoulder won't make any difference. You don't even resemble the beasts we meet normally, and most of the times normal people can't even see them because of the Twilight Veil. And I want to have you around as I enjoy your company. He answered with narrowed eyes, the last part a shy muttering said while scratching the back of his neck. Without saying a word, but only leaving out a small nervous cough, Midna silently floated towards him to then sit on his right shoulder, grabbing onto his clothes and leaning a little on the side of his head. Let's go. Thanks to that thing you can warp whenever you want by switching into your fox form. It's easier if that magic courses through you. She muttered. Thanks. He answered, turning his head to better look at her. No problem. But listen, Naruto, I've got a little favor to ask, she said, moving away from his shoulder to stand right in front of him. I am listening. Would you mind coming with me to find something called the Mirror of Twilight? It's hidden somewhere in Hyrule. What does it do? Utsukushi asked, crossing her arms. That mirror is our last potential link to Zant. The imp girl answered. Then let's go. I will help you find it. Naruto answered in determination. Thank you. She answered with a little smile. No problem, Midna, he said, stealing a little peck on her lips and smiling wide at her face, turning full green. Idiot, she muttered while returning to sit on his shoulder. Utsukushi growled in answer. I have one for you as well. Don't worry, he thought in answer. You better, she answered, assaulting the young man's mental projection as soon as he appeared near her for a kind of indecent kiss. Once you have done, I think we should really go, Midna said, annoyed. Yes, right. Let's go to Telma. I want to hear if they know anything about Arrow Sennin, Naruto said while pocketing a fluorescent snail to bring it to Agatha. It was a snail. If the girl really wanted to have a tea party with insects, that one would take years to reach the girl. Get ready. I'll use the one taking us to Hyrule Field. Like that people won't see you turn from a fox into a human, Midna said as the shinobi's body firstly returned into being that of a wolf-sized nine-tailed fox before breaking down into black fragments suckled inside a portal. Some time later, Telma's. The game had its reasons to hide Midna. I have not such issues. As soon as both Shinobi and Imp Girl entered, they were welcomed by the widely smiling woman happily waving at them. Oh my, if it isn't Naruto and his little friend. You seem to have recovered well, young lady, Telma said, winking at the duo. I have. Thank you for your help, Telma, Midna answered, nodding. I am happy to hear that. And you? How have you been, honey? The bar, man then asked as Naruto sat at one of her stools. I am okay as well. A bit thirsty, but I am fine, the blonde answered, smiling, surprised to see a glass getting slammed in front of him at record speed. The first is on the house, the others you'll pay like the others. That Jiraiya has been here this morning to ask if me or my friend saw you. I promised him we would have informed him, and then, naturally, we will say the exact opposite of what you were doing if we ever happen to see you pass by, of course. One of our men actually saw him move towards the Zora domain, so he'll be busy for a while, the woman said with a new wink. Thank you, Telma, the shinobi answered, grateful, while chugging down his pint. I was actually talking about you with a couple of friends, you know, and I am honestly curious to finally meet them, Naruto answered, chuckling. Then just go talk with them. Hey everyone, introduce yourselves. This handsome young man is the infamous Naruto, Telma said, rising her voice. The fox? Oh, this is interesting. I wonder what spell was behind the transformation, one of the presents said with a very curious expression. You remember what I told you before, honey? We are the ones who are trying to help deal with all the troubles in Hyrule, even if we actually are lacking two of them. But at least Ruzzle. Are you SL? Naruto yelled with wide eyes. He didn't tell you? No, he hasn't, the other answered, grumbling. He probably didn't want you to worry. He is a relatively new recruit. He should return here before night. You two will talk then. What about the other one missing? Midna asked. There's been a disturbing turn of events in the Eastern Desert, so he's gone to check it out. Should you pass by, would you be against the idea of checking on him? We're starting to get worried, Telma answered, sighing. I'll keep my eyes open. Don't worry. Thank you. He is an old man named Oru. Take time to talk to him if you happen to see him. Okay. Honey? Sure thing, he answered, nodding. I know you're on a tight schedule, but it's getting late, so I can offer you a place to sleep. There are some emergency rooms hidden under the bar we use for emergencies. Should Jiraiya pop up here, those are also connected to a tunnel leading outside town, so he won't even know you are here, the woman offered. I don't know, Naruto answered, unsure. Trust me, you'll like the surprise, Telma answered, smirking. Okay, the young man said, unsure. The friends turned out to be quite the jolly bunch as Telma had described them, even if not as boisterous as Naruto expected them to be from his past memories of the people he encountered in the elemental countries. I am Shad. Wonderful to meet you, one of them had said, presenting his hand. Naruto, Telma told me all you've been up to. You're rather formidable. Geez. Thanks, the other answered, smirking in discomfort. I'm rather not, instead, I'm afraid. Well, I'm formidable at book reading, but I lack, shall we say, physical skills. Utsukushi yelled before melting in a mad laughing fit. So you are the expert of history and legends of the group? Midna asked, smirking. she too amused by the vixen's outburst. Pretty much, if you're curious, just ask away. Shad answered nodding. The man's companion was a girl named Ashay that had been trained by her father to be a knight, and because of that admitting that sometimes she could sound rude, even if unwillingly on her part. Listen, I have something important to say. Snow Peak, the mountain to the north of Hyrule, it's unlike any mountain I've ever known. Things happen there that happen on no other mountain I know of. Evil controls it. I'll let you know as soon as I discover more. She had said out of the blue while talking about the training she had went through. Okay, this is getting ridiculous. Are those light guardians pushing side quests on us now? Atsukushi said indignant, unknowingly making the three goddesses flinch at her words. I told you, we need to be more subtle. This hero is harder to nudge into helping us with our other troubles as well. Farah muttered, we are just out of shape. It's been a while since the last hero appeared. Other than that, the rest of the night went on fairly quietly until he was showed the hidden tunnel behind the counter leading to the secret rooms, and the one they were letting him use for the night. Later that night, hidden room underground. A surprise, I wonder what is it? Naruto muttered, yawning as he was lying on the surprisingly soft bed with Midna curled on his chest. It was in that moment that the door opened, showing the last person he thought he would have met in there. Ilya? He muttered in shock before the girl pounced on him, making the Twilight imp topple on the floor, waking up. What are you doing here? Midna asked with a roar, and growing even angrier at seeing the two humans too much taken by their rabid tongue war kiss to pay her attention. Not that I mind, but why you are here? The blonde man asked once the kiss finally paused. Russell decided to send me here to keep me safe from that spy master, and like this we will be free to meet without interruptions. I was getting anxious about knowing nothing of what you were doing, she answered, pulling her shirt above her head before restarting their kiss. Oh God, I missed you. He breathed out while lightly biting on her neck, making her moan. I can feel it. Someone here seems to be even happier than you to see me. The girl answered as her hand grabbed his crotch with a firm grim, making him shiver. Hands away. That is mine along everything else attached to it. Midna hissed as she floated near Ilya with her arms crossed under her chest. TCH, you? Don't make me laugh. With that body, you can't seriously think you will be able to do anything. Even a normal one would be a challenge. His would literally kill you. Ilya answered. Do not underestimate me, little girl. The imp girl replied as her hand too went a squeeze downstairs, making Naruto whimper. Oh God! He groaned as the two girls' hands kept pulling on it to bring it closer to them. Mine, mine, no, mine. Atsukushi yelled, joining the discussion. Enough! The sole male in the room bellowed, pulling himself out from under Ilya, making both girls shriek as they fell on the bed. In the weak light of the candles in the room, the shinobi's body was now only a dark silhouette, casting a shadow on both girls as he towered over them with his eyes reduced to two bright points burning in unholy lust. First I will calm you three, then we will talk like civilized people, he said with his voice dropping few octaves because of his evident arousal before ever so slowly rising both hands in a cross-like hand seal. Kakebunsin no jutsu. He intoned darkly, making several clones on himself appear next to him, both original and copies furiously throbbing in anticipation as soon as they discarded their clothes. Oh my, I forgot about that. Ilya whispered with wide eyes as she remembered how he could turn when she did set his motor running. He really can use that for this? Midna added with her mouth dropping in a shape of wonder. Now calm down, Atsukushi said while slowly backing away as she saw the young man stalking closer to her inside the seal as well. He was apparently horny enough to manage multitasking even in that situation. No escape, he answered as he and the clones pounced. Telma will be soon forced to close the bar as the noises kept going and going without stop, forcing the woman and the blushing messes of her friends to have their meeting elsewhere as they kept getting distracted by the animal grunting of the three lovers and the consecutive orgasms exploding at random intervals coming from the underground tunnels. No one noticed a solitary luminescent dragonfly leaving the bar once the three finally fell asleep exhausted and everything slowly calmed down, rapidly returning to Ajitha's castle to report its findings. Ajitha's castle. Here you are. So, it's the Toad Princess back or not? The girl asked, curious, as soon as she saw her friend enter from the window. BZZ. Oh my. He could do all that to a woman? By himself? The girl asked, shocked, while her face kept getting redder and redder. BZT. The dragonfly added with what only her could read as in helpless tone. What do you mean with that? I don't think you can handle him? I very well can, she answered, stomping down with her feet. BZZ. Well, no. BZZ. No, I can't do that either. BZ. Oh, now you are exaggerating. That is not even physically possible without breaking your spine. Ajitha answered, huffing. The small bug said, shrugging. Ah, that midget girl can do that. TSH. It means nothing. He still has to stop the evil monsters plaguing Hyrule. In the meantime, I will train and get good enough. I have more than enough time, she said, growling, while her other bug friends near her nodded in agreement. But from where I should start? She then asked, muttering. BZZ. A near ladybug answered. Kegel exercises? Never heard of them. Is that something you do in a gym? Or a temple? At that, an unanimous sigh escaped the assembled critters' mouths. They loved their beloved princess dearly, but sometimes she was somehow too much pure to deal with. But they were not going to abandon her. They will help Ajitha. Ah, I got it. It must be one of those spice dishes I heard so much talking about, the girl said in realization and lightly bumping her fist on her open palm. Goddesses, please have mercy of us. The various bugs thought with a desperate sigh as they prepared to undertake the new strenuous task to help Ajitha. Oh, make Jiraiya Hylian misadventure. The Zora incident. Caves near the Zora domain. A certain spy master from Konoha was slowly creeping around with his stomach glued to the floor as he stealthily moved through the most hidden crevices to enter the fishman's domain unseen to look for traces and info about Naruto's whereabouts. Closer. Closer. Jiraiya muttered, licking away a traitorous drop of sweat as it rolled down from his forehead to near his mouth. That human, sure he helped us a lot, all things considered. A near voice said, sighing. The Gorons called him Naruto, so at least we know the name of our savior. Another Zora guard answered. Ah, they know about him. Finally some good news. The Toad Sage cheered mentally. I heard Inhuman is hunting him down. The people in charge want us to keep that Jiraiya away from him at all cost, the first guard added. Shit, they're onto me. But their voices are getting fainter. I have to move closer. After thawing my cousin out of that block of ice? The human will have to step on my corpse to touch our friend. The second Zora replied, huffing. As the voices grew in number while at the same time becoming more faint and indistinguishable, Jiraiya was forced to move through always smaller tunnels until a thick wall finally stopped him from advancing further. Not now. I didn't come this far just to stop for something as little as a wall. I'll make my own hole in there to listen. Using my peeping hole jutsu to spy on a job-related conversation instead of a bathhouse. I never knew this day would have come, Jiraiya muttered to himself as he moved a finger towards the wall to create a miniaturized Rasengan-like sphere to drill a tiny hole in the wall, so to look inside to spy what he was certain was a meeting room for guards. Penises. Penises everywhere. Naked fishmen with human-like penises covered in scaled skin, flaying around as their owners walked, or throbbing in furious erections as a couple of Zora went through measuring contests. Jiraiya had not stumbled in a room of guards, but in the male side of their underground changing room. Kaya. At that revelation, I hope you'll forgive him if he answered to that horrifying show by shrieking and demolishing the actually thin wall separating him from them in his uncontrolled shock of disgust. Inhuman, yelled a Zora, a pervert spying on us. Another said, unknowingly hurting Jiraiya deep inside, even more at that accusation. He loved tits. Thank you very much. Hey, he is that human spy the Gorons warned us against, and he was spying on us while having who knows what sick fantasy. Let's beat him. No, do not beat me. The Toad Sage begged as the furious horde of angry male Zora descended on him with raised fists. It wasn't the punches or kicks to hurt the most, but watching up close all those male dongs wildly flapping around without control at a millimeter of his face. But it was when a particularly furious Zora overstepped in his haste to punch Jiraiya that all went to hell. Because once slipped on the wet floor, the fishman guard momentarily slipped forward towards the Toad Sage, with the added result of slapping said human on the cheek with his penis, making the shinobi go wide-eyed and give the loudest scream of horror ever heard before fainting on the spot with a clearly traumatized expression frozen on his face. Wow, I didn't know you were into that sort of things. The Zora's friend said, smirking. Vovot, you sleep it. You all saw that. The one that had slapped Jiraiya answered immediately while blushing. Dude, that was just wrong. Not that there is anything bad in liking humans. We all have our fetishes. But still, at least wait until we all have left. Another said, barely containing his laughter. You are a bunch of assholes. Just help me kick this bastard out of our territory. You sure you don't want to remain alone with him a little before that? We are not judging. Go fuck yourself, man. Needless to say, once managed to escape the wrath of the fish people. It will take a while to Jiraiya to recover and start once again his hunt for Naruto, not before managing with great difficulty to erase the horrible memories of what he saw and felt in the Zora domain. Sure, he was still waking up screaming at random times because of his nightmares, but he was slowly getting better. That's it for today, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you do, please leave a like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to check out author of this story. Thanks for watching. Take care.